All right, let's get into this, shall we? My goodness, every time I play that song, I swear it just hits harder every single time. Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Andrew Kiorkof, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This beautiful Sunday morning live stream, no technical difficulties. It seems like this is going to be a very good weekend. Hope you all are doing well. Thank you for joining me. Of course, over the course of the next 2 hours here, I'll be answering your guys' questions. Of course, we have updated rankings on screen to the right of me for the 4 primary positions in a half PPR scoring format. So if you have a specific question regarding in position rankings, running backs, wide receivers, quarterbacks, tight ends, hopefully that'll help you guys out. Outside of that, I'll of course be trying to answer questions in the chat. For those of you who send in donations, be sure to also include your scoring format and all other, necessary information that gives me more of an insight as to how I can accurately assess your situation and give you the best possible advice. Outside of that, that's the that's the breakdown. That's what we're doing today. Hope you guys enjoy today's live stream. I know many of you are going to have questions in the chat. I know many of you are going to be asking, Andrew, why aren't you answering our questions? There's many of you and one of me, so I'm going to try my best over the next 2 hours plus to help you guys out. Reminder, again, we didn't have a Thursday quarterbacks and tight ends video. Many people had asked about that yesterday. I want to once again reiterate, mainly because the game was Pittsburgh versus Cleveland. Okay, we all knew that we weren't starting any of those quarterbacks, and we knew that if you had Pat Freiermuth, you were going to start him. Even if I told you guys to start Njoku on Thursday, probably wouldn't have. Nonetheless, it was just a perfect time to add different content and then also just push those weekly quarterback and tight end rankings to today's video because that's where it is. All right. First and foremost, there's a couple injury questions. Number one, I've seen a lot of people in the chat talk about Herbert. Okay. Herbert, from what I have read as of this morning, has already taken the painkiller shot. He's ready to go. He's playing. So that rib cartilage injury that is typically a pain management injury, it seems like they've gone ahead. They didn't pierce his lungs with a shot or anything. They didn't Tyrod Taylor him, and I think he'll be good to go. Again, we're anticipating him to still be Justin Herbert. I'm expecting his receiving threats, of course, the running game to all be perfectly fine. They obviously need a win this week, so that's why he's suiting up and getting ready to go. Outside of that, of course, we have indications in regards to Jacoby Myers. He is no longer playing this week. We know that there's a questionable tag as to whether or not Julio plays. That does increase the potential value of a Russell Gage, Rashad Perriman within that offense. J.K. Dobbins, the thumbnail for today, of course. Last night, I would say maybe early this morning, we were given an indication that he was going to suit up and play. Again, like I've mentioned earlier this week, and in many different circumstances, if J.K. Dobbins is active, the other rushing threats in this offense don't really stand a chance. Based on their efficiency over the first 2 weeks of the season, it's pretty much going to be the J.K. Dobbins show going forward. Hopefully they don't have him too limited to the capacity which he's not getting too many touches there. Somebody in the chat just asked, what are your defensive rankings? We'll get to that in just a moment. I'll go over that and then we'll be good to go. Last thing I needed to mention before we begin, again, be sure to click the like button. It does greatly help this channel out a lot in terms of the algorithm and helping YouTube just continue to echo my channel throughout the fantasy community. So I'd greatly appreciate if you guys can go down, click that like button. Also, be sure to check out Underdog Fantasy. For those of you who haven't yet already, you can go ahead, play their Pick'ems game via Underdog Fantasy. Again, there's a lot of Pick'ems this weekend. I mean, we went over it over the last couple days, guys. There is so many listen, the fact that they even changed Derrick Henry's number, the fact that this is moving down is very interesting to me. Anyway, if you guys want to check that out, there's a link down in the description of the video. You can use promo code Andrew today when you make a first-time deposit and get a first-time deposit match up to $100. So if you're interested, check that out. Let's get into this, shall we? A lot of questions coming in and not a lot of time. So let's okay, here we go. Let's refresh that page and let's get into it, shall we? All right. Brandon with the first question, first and foremost. Okay, here we go. Brandon says, full PPR. I trade away Javonte and Ayuk. I receive Adams. And okay, we're talking about trade questions already. Listen, we're trying to get our lineup set, my guy. Greatly appreciate the donation. Let's see here. Javonte and Ayuk. You receive Adams and Penny. Okay, that's fine by me. Current team is Javonte, Saquon, Chase, Pittman. In terms of gaining value, I mean, I do think that Devontae Adams is going to outscore Javonte Williams the rest of the season. So if you're looking just to get a better overall team in a full PPR, I think that's the best way to go there, Brandon. Thank you. Eric Powell sends in a question. Thank you very much. Says, should I trade Kyler for Dak and Jerry Jeudy? Again, it purely depends on what the heck your team looks like. I don't know what your other quarterback options look like. I don't know what your wide receiver depth looks like. If you're in need of a desperate wide receiver play, then of course you want to go after Jerry Jeudy, but I don't know who's going to be filling in until Dak returns. We don't even know when Dak is for sure going to return from the injury that he sustained. Moving on. We have Maximo with a question. Says, half PPR. Keep James Conner if active. Go ETN, Ramondre Stevenson, or Chase Edmonds on the bench. Okay, listen, if James Conner is going to be active today, I am playing him in my lineup according to what it has on screen against, those other running back options. Again, if in fact you do play in a full PPR scoring format, I still would have him relatively higher ranked. The whole question is, how much of a limitation are they going to potentially put on him today in that regard? If they're going to put a limitation to where he's only playing, 50% of the snaps, obviously it's going to be a pretty big impact. But the fact that they've already kind of said earlier on in the week, he's fine, he's going to be okay. They just wanted to make sure that he was kind of not pressed to the limit to where he would re-aggravate an injury during the entire session of practice this week. I think he's perfectly fine to be started and good to go. So if in fact he doesn't play after warming up, your available options are ETN, Ramondre Stevenson, Chase Edmonds. I would play Ramondre Stevenson. I think that Baltimore game could very easily turn into a contest where Baltimore comes out, scores a lot of points, and it puts, Mac Jones in that offense in a situation where they have to pass for majority of the day. A lot of checkdowns, hopefully, going in the direction of Ramondre. Otherwise, Damian Harris will be picking those up as we anticipate. All right, moving on. Daryl Bottoms, thank you very much. Says, Tua or Carr today, full PPR. Also have an RB2 Henderson or Zeke. Also have Dobbins. Okay, so in terms of starting the quarterback position and figuring out who you want to play there, I'm of the opinion that I'd rather just play Derek Carr. I think it's just far too easy of a matchup against Tennessee to avoid that. I mean, we saw I know Josh Allen's a completely different machine, but the fact that Daniel Jones was able to have an 81 passing completion percentage against them in week 1, that kind of gives you an indication just how bad that secondary has played this season. I know that they're trying to, fix it as quickly as they can, but when Devontae Adams is coming into town, it's definitely going to be difficult to do that. So I'm playing Carr just slightly over Tua in that regard. I still think Tua is going to be a top 12 quarterback this week. Moving on, your second question there was Henderson, Zeke, or Dobbins. Again, the rankings that are on screen are up to date as of this morning. That is where I would go with it. So of the available that you just mentioned, Darrell Henderson is my highest ranked. Between the three of them, I know they're back to back to back. That's pretty much a matter of like, hey, if you don't feel comfortable with Darrell Henderson, by all means, you can pivot to any of those two other options, because if they're back to back in my rankings, we're talking about a half a point separation in terms of projections between them, if even that. A lot of the circumstances, it's not even that much. So as of right now, whoever you're comfortable with in that regard. Otherwise, I have Henderson the highest amongst those three options that you mentioned. Ozzy said in the donation, thank you very much, Ozzy. I appreciate that. Logan Thomas or Dawson Knox in a standard format. I play Logan Thomas this week. Again, it seems like, as of right now, Gabriel Davis is going to give it a go. Dawson Knox is going to give it a go. Both those guys dealing with injuries. If, in fact, we're in a scenario where we have to decide between a potentially, hindered by injury tight end and another one that is in a pretty advantageous matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm going to take Logan Thomas in that regard. That's who I'd play. Thank you, Ozzy. Alex Korth says, full PPR, Olave, Henderson, Akers. Thank you. All right, let's go ahead. Let's see where my full PPR rankings are in terms of the flex position. I'm pretty certain. All right, let's see here. Where is I'm fairly certain it's going to be, of the potential players you mentioned, it's going to be Henderson. The main reason why I prefer Henderson, by the way, is because if you go back to last week's game, in the first half, Henderson outtouched him. I mean, I would say it was more of like a, hey, Henderson's going to take the first couple reps of this, and then Akers will come in every other drive, or maybe like 2 drives Henderson, 1 drive Akers, and then it'll rotate accordingly. In the second half, it was pretty much a blowout. So they started pivoting in the direction of just purely feeding the ball to Akers early third, beginning of the fourth. And then once the comeback, kind of mounted, Henderson went right back into the game for those last couple drives for the Los Angeles Rams, interestingly enough. So that kind of gives you an indication as to who the starter is there. So let's see here. Where do I have Henderson in comparison to Chris Olave? I have Chris Olave higher in a full PPR scoring format. So now I thought it was going to be one way over the other. It is actually not. So I'll take my rankings as of last night and what I kind of prepared in that regard based on my projections. So we'll take Olave over both those running back options this week. Alex, thank you. Element Difference says, Standard League, Judy or Lazard? I'd still play Judy. I don't know if I can trust any Green Bay wide receivers right now. We know that Lazard, Randall Cobb, and Romeo Doubs they're all going to play. Now, outside of that, it's a pretty tricky situation. So I'd probably just go ahead and say, let's roll with Jerry Jeudy. He seems like he's going to play. I know he's dealing with that rib, shoulder, I don't know what the heck injury to us. But if he's playing, I'm confident enough to have him in the lineup instead of Lazard. Thank you. Marco says, Allen Robinson or Damian Harris in a full PPR? I'd play Allen Robinson there. Again, Allen Robinson, he may be the number 3 receiving option within that offense behind Cooper Kupp and Tyler Higbee, but he is still getting himself pretty ample red zone opportunity, which is the biggest difference maker. Besides the fact that he's going to be able to be a pretty consistent option in the receiving game. Last week could have very easily had a second receiving touchdown. They called it back because there was an injury on the play before, so they pretty much blew the play dead prior to him being able to go up and bring that ball down. So either way, I think Allen Robinson, certainly the better option in this week. Thank you, Marco. Appreciate it. Matthew 1031 says, good morning, sir. Full PPR, Keenan Allen or James Robinson? I'd play Keenan Allen. Again, the likelihood of Keenan Allen very easily catching 7 passes for 60 some odd yards is pretty fair. Like, this guy in a half PPR over his last 2 years has averaged over 14 points per game with Justin Herbert under center. I know both of them are still dealing with their own respective injuries, but this is still one of those games where it's going to be Justin Herbert trying to get the ball out of his hands as quickly as he possibly can. You know, of course, self-preservation in that regard. And if James Robinson wants to get into that level, he's going to have to find himself 70 rushing yards, a rushing touchdown, just like he has in the last couple weeks. I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility, but I feel like the stability of what Keenan Allen presents certainly does give him just a slight bit of a favor in that regard. So I'd take Keenan Allen there. Jesse Aldridge, let's see what you have in the chat, my guy, because your message didn't have anything attached to it. So let's see here. Jesse says, good morning, Andrew. Should I start Gabe Davis or Brandon Cooks or Garrett Wilson, Christian Kirk? Okay, so of the potential 4 options that you mentioned, I would rank it as Christian Kirk, Brandon Cooks, Gabe Davis, then Garrett Wilson in that exact order, Jesse. Much appreciated. Sports TNB in the chat was saying Miles Sanders or Allen Robinson in a full PPR scoring format. Man, I really like Miles Sanders this week. He typically has pretty favorable games against Washington. Last year against the Commanders, I think he had a 131 rushing yard game. Pretty monster performance. So I probably go in the direction of Sanders in that regard. Sports, thank you. A couple people in the chat were asking, let's see here. Samuel, London, Bateman, Olave, Pierce. I mean, if I'm picking 2 out of that bunch, I'm playing Curtis Samuel. Again, the volume of opportunity he has seen makes him a vital part of that offense. He's the number 1 receiving threat. And then we talk about Drake London against Seattle. I would take that as well. So those are the 2 primaries that I would go with. I just want to remind you guys, again, as of right now, to the right of me, we have updated rankings, half PPR, as of my top 36 running backs, wide receivers, top 16 quarterbacks, and tight ends. If you have a question regarding interpositional rankings, that should help you guys out. Of course, I'm going to be looking to the chat. I'll be looking towards the donations that y'all send in to support the channel in order to answer some questions. I do appreciate all 900, almost 1,000 of you being here this morning. I greatly appreciate you guys, of course, supporting the channel with your viewership. If you guys could do me a favor, click the like button down below. Definitely goes a long way in terms of helping grow the channel and everything that is to come with the content. So greatly appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see here. Somebody in the chat was saying CeeDee Lamb, Keenan Allen, Michael Thomas, Treylon Burks, Jerry Jeudy start 3. I mean, at that point, we're probably playing Michael Thomas, Keenan Allen. Those are the 2 primaries. And then it's a matter of whether you're going with, CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy. I mean, what CeeDee Lamb has already kind of done in the last 2 games that he's played with Cooper Rush makes him a pretty consistent option, especially in a full PPR. But that being said, I think I just rather play Judy. I think there's just more upside in that regard. Maybe the floor is a little bit more dangerous, but I feel like there's more upside in playing Judy this week. Thank you. Okay, so let me get back to the chat. All right, so we got to Jesse's question. Thank you very much again, Jesse. Greatly appreciate it. Carson sends in a question, says, I need 2 wide receivers and a flex. In a full PPR scoring format, we have the available options. DJ Moore, Cortland Sutton, Jacoby Myers, not playing, or is expected not to play. Ezekiel Elliott, Allen Robinson, Nelson Aguilar, Treylon Burks, Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert, and Ramondre Stevenson. Okay, so of your available options, I'm playing all wide receivers. You're playing in a full PPR scoring format. The available running backs that you mentioned don't really excite me in any regard. So I'm playing Cortland Sutton, DJ Moore as your starting 2 wide receivers, and then I'm going ahead and playing Allen Robinson in the flex position. Thank you very much, Carson. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Outside of Carson, who is next on this list? Okay, cool. Let's close that. All right, Nick Abner sends in a question. Says 10-team full PPR. Tua, Waddle, Amon-Ra St. Brown. We have Mixon, Henry, Andrews, Higgins. Keep Higgins in the flex over James Conner? Yes, and especially in a full PPR. And Garrett Wilson, is that your opinion? Yes, that is my opinion. I would definitely keep T. Higgins there. Again, I expect him to be amongst the top at the wide receiver position. The guy garners more targets when playing with Jamar Chase than not playing with Jamar Chase. So just kind of putting that into perspective, just how much pressure Jamar Chase pulls on the other side of the field that continues to make him a viable option within this offense. They take on the Jets. I think that's a fantastic matchup for T. Higgins. So yeah, 100% play him in the flex, even if James Conner's active. Navrick sends in a question, says full PPR, David Montgomery or Christian Kirk? That's a fantastic question. Let's see. Where do I even have these guys in my full PPR rankings? David Montgomery's there. Christian Kirk, where are you? There's Keenan Allen. Where's Christian Kirk? Okay, I have David Montgomery ahead of Christian Kirk. I have David Montgomery in my full PPR as my number 30 overall player for this weekend, and then I have Christian Kirk as my number 33. So that's where I would go. I go David Montgomery there. Thank you. DIYWD says full PPR, pick 2. Wide receivers and a flex. Okay, here we go. So let's see here. We have Higgins, Allen, Drake, Damian Harris. Okay, cool. Listen, I think your nervousness in regards to Keenan Allen, like you mentioned, like I've seen, okay, maybe I need to confirm it once again. I'm fairly certain from what I read. Okay, so Josh Jacobs is in fact going to play today. So that is another thing that I just got update on. So that was expected. A lot of you guys were in the chat here yesterday when we were live streaming. I had mentioned that he didn't even make the trip. A lot of you pointed out, hey, Andrew, he actually made a private flight to Tennessee in order to play. So, yeah, I think they'll be good to go. Let's see here. So I need to find where the heck is it? Why can't I find the post? Anyway, listen, I'm expecting Justin Herbert to play. Well, from what I've read, he should be playing. Keenan Allen obviously took a week off. They played he's had like almost 2 weeks off pretty much at this point from that hamstring injury. I'm not too worried about it. So if I'm suggesting DIY what you play, it's Keenan Allen, it's T. Higgins for sure as your number 1 and 2 wide receiver, and I'm playing Drake London in your flex position over those other running backs because, again, it is a full PPR. There's far more floor for those players in comparison to Damian Harris and Jeff Wilson Jr., who don't really get much utilization out of the backfield as receiving threats. I mean, we're talking about the 49ers who over the last 3 years have had the fewest running back targets. Obviously running back purely, not fullback because we're not counting Juszczyk considering how many catches he has out of the backfield, respectively. Okay, moving on. Gucci Han Louis Han says, my guy, full PPR. I need 2 out of the potential options we have here. A.J. Dillon, Jeff Wilson, Damian Harris. Yeah, I play the first 2 there. A.J. Dillon, Jeff Wilson. Damian Harris, again, if in fact he needs to, score a touchdown every single week to be relevant, there's a certain possibility that he could find the end zone. But my biggest concern is what kind of a game script are we going to look at here against the Baltimore Ravens, who really just boat race every team in the beginning of games, really put up a lot of points. So at this point, I'm thinking to myself, let's play A.J. Dillon, let's play Jeff Wilson. They have far more receiving upside, especially in a full PPR. Moving on. So Vici Asok, long time no see. I hope you're doing well. Been around the community for a while. Greatly appreciate the donation. Says 1 wide receiver, 2 running backs, and a flex. Of the available options, what are we doing here, Andrew? Okay, so Your running backs, I mean, very easily are going to be Dalvin Cook and Antonio Gibson. No questions asked there. As for your wide receiver, I'm playing Keenan Allen there. As for your flex, I'm playing Brandon Cooks. That's the direction I would go with. And then your following question was, I have Herbert and Trevor Lawrence. Do I play Herbert? Yes. If Herbert is fully active, I have him in my lineup. No questions asked. He's good to go. And I expect him to be active. Ankit Patel, thank you very much. Says start full PPR. Dotson, Burks, Mooney, AJ, Dillon. If I'm picking one, it's probably Dillon. The issue with Jahan Dotson is the fact that he's getting only 4 or 5 targets per week, but he's scoring touchdowns, right? The touchdown volatility could be relatively high. He could continue to be a red zone machine. You know, only time will tell. But at this point, trusting in Treylon Burks, especially Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney cannot be even... Nobody should talk about Darnell Mooney this week, purely. Okay? Let's all ignore his potential, and then maybe, just maybe, he'll pop off and have himself a great week. That's what we're hoping on. So, as of right now, I'm leaning towards A.J. Dillon within those respective options. Ankit, thank you. Niners Collection says full PPR, James Robinson or James Conner as my RB2 for this week. In a full PPR scoring format, I mean, again, if in fact James Conner is ready to go, I have a hard time sitting him. If you want to go ahead, they're back to back in my rankings. Full PPR, half PPR, doesn't really matter. They're next to each other. So if you feel comfortable playing James Robinson because you know he might not be limited like James Conner may be, like if you're assuming that James Conner is going to not play as much, and that is your biggest concern, then just play James Robinson and don't worry about it. Otherwise, I have Conner ahead of him as of right now. Thank you. JT86TN says Gabe Davis or Drake London. I play Drake London right now. Gabe Davis's ankle could end up being something that kind of slows him down overall in comparison. So I'd rather play the healthy player with similar opportunity. Dejon says Henderson, Javonte. Okay, we're playing Javonte there for sure. Dortch or Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson there for sure. Thank you very much, Dejon. Thank you. Lucky says full PPR. Brady has been killing me. Would you stream Flacco or Jimmy G this week? If I have to stream one of them, I'm streaming Flacco. Would I play him over Brady? Probably not. I don't think I have the mental fortitude to be able to sit there and play Joe Flacco over him in my league. Now, you may have a little bit of a different approach to it, but as of right now, I think I have Flacco as my number 21 ranked quarterback for this week. He's on the list. He's still an option in like a 2 QB league, but in a 1 quarterback format, it's going to be tough for me to start him over Brady, even without all those primary pieces today. He still will have Russell Gage, Brashad Perriman, Cole Beasley, the tight ends, Fournette. Hopefully Lenny's going to eat today. And then your following question here was, pick one wide receiver 2 and a flex. We have Debo, we have Higgins. Who is the next question? Christian Kirk, Garrett Wilson, and Hollywood Brown. I mean, I'm playing those 2 primaries. I'm playing T. Higgins and playing Debo Samuel. You're playing your studs. They got good matchups this week. Jesse sends in a question. Says, Gabe Davis or Michael Carter? I would play Gabe Davis there. Thank you, Jesse. Appreciate it. Brandon says, full PPR. I need a wide receiver 2 and a flex. We have these available options. Okay, of those available options, Samuel, Cooks, Hollywood Brown, Pierce, and Edmonds. I'm playing Cooks, and I'm playing... Do I want to play Hollywood Brown in a full PPR over Curtis Samuel? I think I still do. I mean, I know Curtis Samuel's been absolutely... Okay, let me see here. Let's change. Okay, cool. Where the heck did my my YouTube go? Okay, there it is. What is this update? Let me see here. Okay, let me see this other update that I had. Is there anything? No. Okay. So, am I playing Cooks over... Or, sorry, am I playing Samuel over Hollywood Brown in a full PPR? I think I'm still playing Hollywood there. So it's probably Cooks and Hollywood as your wide receiver 2 and your flex there as of right now. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Steven says, and by the way, you did mention, Brandon, they're back-to-back in my rankings. Yes, they are. So again, if you feel more comfortable going one way over the other, again, we're splitting hairs in that regard. I'm just thinking who has... that overall upside in comparison. I know, Curtis Samuel has looked really good, but I'm sure the Philadelphia Eagles have noticed that, and they're going to try to put that to an end this week. They're obviously not going to be able to completely shut him out, but I don't know if he's going to be scoring a touchdown as consistently as he has over the first 2 weeks of the season thus far. All right, Steven Talbot sends in a question. Steven, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. My team is Burrow, Javonte, AJ. Okay, we have AJ Dillon, we have Aaron Jones, we have Pollard, we have Walker. Okay. So let's see here. Would you trade for better? The question is, okay, it's a trade question. Guys, if you guys could, try to just limit the questions today to starter sits for this week so that we can just quickly, rip through them accordingly. In terms of your trade question here, yeah, you need to get a better running back too. I think having Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon as your primary 1 and 2 back every week is going to be tough, especially if, I guess you're securing the entire backfield, but when they have tougher matchups like today, it's definitely be something that we're a little bit kind of cautious of. So if you're able to keep Dillon, sure, but make a move in terms of upgrading that RB2, maybe moving, Wilson or Pollard there, Steven, that would be the play. Dante Jones sends in a question, says, Wentz or Herbert? I'm playing Herbert. If he's active, Gabe Davis or Drake London? I'm playing Drake London. Thank you, Dante. Appreciate that. Alrighty. Just another reminder, guys. The rankings to the right of me are updated as of this morning. Half PPR, top 36 running backs, wide receivers, quarterback, and tight end for a 4-point per passing touchdown league. Half PPR for the tight end position. If you guys have any questions with an interdivisional, interpositional matchups or, stuff like that, hopefully that kind of answers it. Outside of that, I greatly appreciate you guys stopping by today. About 1,100 of you in this chat. If you guys could, do me a favor, click the like button. Greatly do appreciate you guys supporting the channel in that regard. All right, let's see here. Mike Jimenez sends in a question, says, Superflex, pick 2 quarterbacks out of the following. Okay, we have we have a pretty rough list of quarterbacks here, huh? Matt Ryan, Geno Smith, Davis Mills, Cooper Rush, and Daniel Jones. All right, let me look at my rankings. So I have, of the potential that you mentioned, man, I do not have these guys ranked high at all. Matt Ryan and Daniel Jones, those are the 2 highest ranked of the potential players that you even mentioned. Is that correct? Yeah, that is correct. Matt Ryan and Daniel Jones. That's what I'd go with there, Mike. Appreciate it. Jordan Reynolds says, hi, Andrew. Hope you've been having a good weekend. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. If Herbert is out, should I start Mariota? Pitts is also my starting tight end because I'm stubborn. Yeah, listen, I'm playing Pitts this weekend anyway, so I'm in the same boat as you. Should I also start Drake London or Brandon Cooks? If we get into a scenario where you end up having to start Mariota, then I would just go full Falcons this weekend and just find the game and only watch that game and just, put it all on the line. Honestly, that's the way I would go with it as of right now. Otherwise, I do have Cooks. Let's see here. Where's Cooks on my list? He might be like just barely ahead of him. Yeah, he's right behind him. Yeah, actually, never mind. In that case, yeah, you're playing Drake London regardless. If Mariota ends up playing, then yes, you have the full Atlanta Falcons theme team for this week. Thank you, Jordan. Appreciate it. Jordan, another Jordan sends in a question. Jordan Kranz says, 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. Of the following, what are we doing here? Okay, so we're playing. Okay, so you have Robinson, you have Zeke, you have Jacobs, you have Keenan Allen, you have Drake London, you have Bateman. Okay, so of the potential options that you mentioned, your wide receiver is Keenan Allen, your flex is Drake London, your starting running back is James Robinson. That's where I would go with, Jordan. Thank you. Appreciate it. Perry Paul, hope you're doing well. Thank you very much. Need help with my RB2. My RB1 is Joe Mixon. The available running backs that I have as my RB2 are Miles Sanders, Antonio Gibson, James Robinson, and AJ Dillon. I think they're all great options, honestly. That's why they're all like sitting in that RB2 range. If I have to commit to one, it's probably James Robinson, then Antonio Gibson, then Sanders, then AJ Dillon. I appreciate it, Perry. Let's see. Ramirez sends in a question. Says, traded Aaron Jones for Devontae Adams, full PPR, straight up. Is that a good trade? So first and foremost, in a sense of just straight full PPR, yes, that's a good trade. In a vacuum, perfectly fine with it. And then you also asked, why do you have Allen Robinson higher than DK Metcalf versus the Falcons? Because I don't trust Geno Smith, purely. If it's a matter of like wide receiver talent, we know that DK Metcalf is a far better wide receiver option. But my biggest concern is quarterback play. And I don't think we're going to get, I'm hoping, I have my own shares of DK Metcalf across my teams. I'm hoping that DK could have himself a great week here. It's a fantastic matchup. Unfortunately, when we're talking about the quarterback stability and trusting in that, in said quarterbacks, it leads me in the direction of rather playing Allen Robinson in that regard. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Nick Wilby says, Garrett Wilson or Curtis Samuel? I played Curtis Samuel there in a full PPR. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it. Moto says, 2-quarterback league, offered Cousins for Wentz. Do I take it? You were offered to take Cousins and give Wentz? Yes, I would do that. Random says, full PPR, Ayuk, Dylan, Pierce. Rank them, please. No problem. Okay, so let's see here. Full PPR spreadsheet. Let's see here. So where is... Okay, so I have Ayuk ahead of Dylan. And then who was your other option? The other option was Pierce. I'm fairly certain I have both them ahead of Pierce as well. Let me check. Let's Control F, Pierce. Yeah. So I have Brandon Ayuk over. So it would go Ayuk, Dylan, Pierce in that exact order. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Random. All right, Perrier Paul says, should I drop Devontae Smith and pick up Chris Olave rest of season? Oh, man. I think it's just a matter of what kind of wide receiver depth you have on roster in regards to, do you need Devontae Smith to contribute in the next couple weeks? Because we can still start Chris Olave consistently, I think, in a similar capacity. So I'm willing to make that swap just off of the offense as a whole. Unless something's to happen to AJ Brown, Devontae Smith is still number 2. And in an offense that's not going to pass the ball as much as specifically the Saints, I'd probably say let's go ahead and make that swap. I don't mind that rest of the season. I'm thinking Chris Olave eventually takes that number 2 spot in that offense and becomes a pretty viable option, even with Jameis, famous Jameis. All right, moving on. Regular veteran says full PPR, flex Robert Woods, Julio Jones, MVS, Cam Akers, Nelson Aguilar off the waivers. If I'm picking one, I'm playing Nelson Aguilar off the waivers. No joke, full PPR. I don't trust that Julio can stay healthy in this weekend's game. I don't trust that Robert Woods is going to get opportunity. MVS is a 50-50 ball. He needs an 80-yard touchdown to be relevant, and we haven't seen that thus far in terms of opportunity within that offense, passing the ball deep down the field. Patrick Mahomes has pretty much been nullified in that regard, considering everyone sits in cover 2. So, and I'm not really interested in Cam Akers, so I'm going Nelson Aguilar off the waivers there. Regular veteran, appreciate it. John S. says, Sutton or Higgins in the flex position, full PPR. I'd say both of them, but unfortunately, I don't think you have the privilege of being able to play both. If I'm picking one, I'm playing Sutton this weekend. Thank you. Let's see here. Anthony Ling says, how confident are you? How confident would you be to start Herbert? And then also, your following question was, I have Goff as a backup, scale 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. If I'm talking about confidence in starting Herbert, I'd probably say I'm at an 8 right now. Mainly because I'm thinking, why would you send out your franchise quarterback to play against the Jacksonville Jaguars unless everybody was fully confident in the idea that he is going to actually be fine? So I'm fairly certain that they're smart about the idea of, hey, they're going to go ahead, protect him, and do what's, in their best interest for the entire season. One game doesn't, define the entire season. So if he's playing, it gives me enough confidence to have him out there. In comparison to Goff, yes, I think Goff is still a decent option this week, but I'd rather play Herbert by far. Huck Brooks says, my phone died. I didn't see the answer to my question. Well, we haven't gotten to your question yet, but either way. But I need an RB2 and a flex. Standard between these 4 potential options. We have Dylan, CEH, DK, and Kirk. All right, RB2 is CEH, and the flex is Christian Kirk, in my opinion. Thank you very much, Huck. Appreciate it. So Vicia says, love the content, love the growth. Thank you for the advice. No problem. Hope you're doing well. All right, just wondering why Duvernay is not in the top 36, mainly because Duvernay is not really getting that much target opportunity, Blake. That's the primary reason. I know last week he scored a touchdown on a return in special teams, but in terms of his target opportunity, it's not going to be as high as some of these other wide receiver options. Sure, he may have touchdown upside, but again, touchdowns are really hard to predict in fantasy football. So at this point, I'd opt to just go with, better options there. Okay, moving on. Let's see here. Ozzy Reina, says start. Okay, here we go. So let's talk about defenses. So he's saying start the Saints or start was the other option the Giants? No, I'm not playing the Giants this week. No, thank you. All right, my Saints. Okay, yeah, the Saints are my number 1 defense on the week, playing against Mr. Baker Mayfield. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go top to bottom, top 12 defenses. You ready for it? Here we go. Hold on to your butts. Here we go. Number 1, Saints. Number 2, Bills. Number 3, Cowboys. Number 4, Baltimore Ravens. Number 5, 49ers. Number 6, Broncos. Number 7, we have Bengals. Number 8, we have Buccaneers. Number 9, Chargers. Number 10, Rams. Number 11, Eagles. Number 12, Chiefs. All right. Those are my top 12 defenses. Play the Saints specifically. Ozzy, appreciate that. Jan sends in a question, says, I don't have a backup quarterback for Herbert. Who should I pick up, Wentz or Tua? And which wide receiver should I drop? Hollywood / McLaurin. I'm sorry, is Herbert not playing or something? I wouldn't drop any of those wide receivers to make this pickup because I don't think you should make a switch. That's my suggestion at this point. Let me see here. Am I crazy? Maybe I am. Let's see here. Mr. Justin Herbert. Let's see what the new... Yeah, okay. So as of this morning, okay, according to Pro Football Talk, okay, Justin Herbert, all right, it's a may get. All right, so I guess we're waiting to see. Ultrasound, guided injection, Okay, we'll have to wait and see then, yeah? Okay, so if in fact you do need to make an actual quarterback pickup and your best option is dropping one of those two players, Jan, then you drop McLaurin, purely. Thank you. Greetings from Switzerland. Damn. Thank you very much for the support all the way out there. I'm watching football, huh? What time is it over there? Let's see here. Christian sends in a question, says half PPR. Bateman, Samuel, Aaron Jones, start 2. If I'm starting 2, I'm starting Aaron Jones and Curtis Samuel. And then your following question is Russell Wilson or Carson Wentz. And then you have the confused face next to Russell Wilson's name. I don't blame you. Still, in that regard, I'm pretty comfortable rolling out Russell Wilson, mainly because of his comfort against that defense. He's played against the 49ers twice a year for his entire career. So I'm fairly confident in rolling him out there in that regard over Wentz in his revenge game. Again, I've talked about it. Maybe Wentz is a quarterback that is going to be beyond this overall, I guess, pocket of games that we've seen. But in the last couple years, when we've seen Russell Wilson take on his former team, Tom Brady take on his former team, Matthew Stafford take on his former team, all those quarterbacks started really slow in those games. And honestly, none of them really had great games. My biggest concern is if, in fact, we're seeing Mr. Carson Wentz take on his former Eagles, we may have something very similar. I know that there's not really a concrete, statistical thing to that, but I think it's more of a actual human element that leads me in the direction of playing Wilson there. Thank you. Let's see here. Josh Rowe says full PPR. I need 1. We have Gibson, Dobbins, Mike Williams. Okay, again, Mike Williams plays if Herbert plays. If not, then we will go and play Antonio Gibson there in a full PPR. Receiving upside is great in that regard. Your following question was Brady, Lawrence, or Mariota. I would play Brady, Mariota, Lawrence in that exact order. Thank you very much, Josh. Appreciate it. Ian Judge, thank you very much. It says full PPR, Russell Gage, Damian Harris, or Adam Thielen. Of the 3 available options in a full PPR, I'm fairly certain. Damian Harris, let's see here. Where is Harris on this list? Because I'm pretty, yeah. So we have Russell Gage there. We have, yeah. So we have Russell Gage and Adam Thielen above Damian Harris for sure. If I'm picking one out of the 2, I mean, literally in a full PPR scoring format, their separation is 2 ranks. So I'm leaning towards the idea of playing Adam Thielen just off of pure touchdown upside. So I'd go Thielen, but I don't mind you playing Russell Gage out there if that's what you prefer. But yeah, I prefer Thielen at this moment. Darius says Kamara is going. Kamara is a go. I need an RB2. Jacobs is active, and do I play him or Gibson? I'd play Gibson this week. Thank you. Don sends in a question. Says I have Jalen Hurts. We have Jamar Chase, Diggs, AJ Brown, Montgomery, Hunt, Schultz. Should I trade for another running back? I have Edmonds on the bench. I mean, yeah, you probably should look to try to get a little bit more running back depth outside of just Hunt as your RB2 there. If you're able to do so, then by all means, more power to you. Because otherwise, those wide receivers are going to carry your squad at the end of the day. You might be able to wait a couple weeks and buy low on a specific candidate. But yeah, you should definitely look to try to improve that RB2 spot. Donnie Bravo says, start Cousins or wait for Herbert? Yeah, that's the question. If you're sitting here, kind of in between, I'm probably saying you just start Cousins. Just don't even risk it at that point. If Herbert is out, do I play? Yeah, listen, if it's a matter of like, okay, do we play Kirk Cousins in the early window, or do we rotate and just wait for, let me see here. 1 second. Let's, perfect. Okay. If it's a matter of playing Kirk Cousins in the early window or waiting for confirmation on Herbert, I'd just rather play Kirk Cousins because I think his ranking to Herbert and what his potential is far closer than what, a Mariota, Jimmy G, or Geno Smith could present to your team. So at this point, I just roll out Kirk Cousins just to be safe. If Davis is out, who do I flex? Harris, Carter, Ayuk, or Dotson in a half PPR scoring format. In a half PPR scoring format, of the available options, I would most likely roll out with Harris there. Thank you very much, Donnie. Appreciate it. Bug-Eye Buck Nasty says, Goff over Mariota, ? Yes, if you're playing in a 4-point per passing touchdown league, I know the idea of playing Mariota may be a little bit more appealing because of the rushing upside, but just like we saw last week, there's not always going to be that rushing upside for every quarterback. So at this point, we're just going to go ahead and roll with Mr. Jared Goff there. And in your following question, Bug-Eye, was Sanders or Patterson? I'd play Sanders, yes. Dejon says, Allen Robinson, McLaurin, or Thielen. If you're playing one, I'm playing Allen Robinson. Boxo Card Production says, flex, PPR, Clyde, DJ Moore, Samuel. Okay, picking one out of those three options, I'm probably playing Curtis Samuel. Not even probably. Yes, I am playing Curtis Samuel. And then your follow-up question, even if Jacobs is sick, do I trust him over Jeff Wilson Jr.? Yeah, I mean, look, at this point, I'm thinking to myself, just purely off of defensive matchup and an overall opportunity, I don't think Josh Jacobs is playing just to get 5 or 6 touches. I think he's playing just to play fully. So I'm pretty confident in the idea of having him over Jeff Wilson at this moment, because when I looked at what, Tyrion Davis-Price was was giving to that offense last week in regards to Tyrion Davis-Price early in that game was an active part. I'm worried that we're going to see Jordan Mason come in and also kind of get that kind of opportunity early. So, yeah, I'm leaning towards Jacobs. Terry sends in a question, says, what is this? Less than 100% Gabe Davis or Greg Dortch in a possible shootout. Do you think that's going to be a shootout? I mean, if that Arizona matchup is a shootout, I would be surprised. I think the Rams take early lead and Kyler comes back in the 4th. So, I mean, I guess if you want to consider that a shootout, sure. But as of right now, I'm leaning the direction of less than 100% Gabe Davis. Rico says, CeeDee Lamb, Sutton, or Kirk? I'd play Sutton this week. And then I'd play Kirk, then I'd play CeeDee Lamb. Thank you, Rico. Appreciate it. Luke sends in a question, says, Duvernay, Singletary, Dotson, Beasley. As of right now, I have Dotson, Duvernay, Beasley, Singletary in that order. Thank you. Teddy H says, CeeDee Lamb or Cordero Patterson. And then also Henderson or Allen Robinson. I would play Allen Robinson and I would play CeeDee Lamb. That's where I'm going. Thank you. Chaz says, full PPR, pick 2, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Curtis Samuel. If I'm picking 2 out of the potential options, I want to start those Chargers wide receivers. I'm expecting Herbert plays today. So listen, one of the main reasons also that I'm thinking that Herbert's going to go is because he wouldn't have been active in his practices all week just to not play on Sunday. Like, maybe it was him just giving it a go, seeing how much he can go before, the pain's too much. But at this moment, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, we're probably in a situation where he's going to be active. So I want to play those 2 wide receivers for that team. I want to play Keenan Allen. I want to play Mike Williams there, Chaz. Thank you. Randall Baxter says, PPR league, James Conner, Chris Olave, or Greg Dortch. Of those options, if Connor's active, I want him in my lineup. If he's not, Chris Olave is the next best. Thank you. Damon Smith, thank you very much. Appreciate it. What's up, man? Yeah. You've been around the channel for literally probably, 3 years now? Thank you, Mr. Smith. I appreciate it. Full PPR. I got to pick one. Michael Thomas, Drake London, CeeDee Lamb, Cortland Sutton. If I'm playing one, I'm playing Cortland Sutton. I know Michael Thomas has been really good as of late, but I think that Cortland Sutton probably provides just as much upside and really hasn't found himself in the end zone as of late. couple called back touchdowns, but I think he finds the end zone this week and kind of solidifies his value within that offense. Key Lloyd says, can't decide between my two flex options. We have Elijah Moore, we have Jahan Dotson, Brandon Ayuk, Jarvis Landry, Darrell Henderson, Rashad Penny. Pick two in a full PPR scoring format. All right. So if we're picking two of these potential available options, I'm playing Brandon Ayuk, and I'm following that up with probably playing Darrell Henderson. Those are the two. Thank you. Jay Carlos says half PPR, Curtis Samuel, Bateman, Henderson, or Burks. In a half PPR, I'm probably most comfortable playing Curtis Samuel there. Thank you. Somebody in the chat asked Michael Thomas or Garrett Wilson. 100% Michael Thomas. Again, just a reminder, we're about 40 minutes into the stream. Actually, maybe a little bit longer. Doesn't matter. I want to thank you guys for supporting the channel with your viewership out here today. About 1,300 of you. If you guys could do me a favor, click the like button. Try to get us over 500 in the next couple seconds here. We greatly appreciated. To the right of me on the screen are updated rankings as of this morning for a half PPR scoring format. Top 36 running backs, wide receivers, along with top 16 quarterbacks and tight ends. Just a little bit ago, I did mention my top defenses of the week. I'll go ahead and reiterate that just so we're all on the same page. I have the Saints, Bills, Cowboys, Ravens, 49ers, Broncos. That's the top 6. Followed by Bengals, Buccaneers, Chargers, Rams, Eagles, Chiefs. Thank you. Anyway, if you guys can help me out, click that like button. Greatly appreciate it. Also, for those of you who are just trying to get your questions answered, but also still play more fantasy football on a weekly basis, you could also go ahead and do so via Underdog Fantasy. They have a bunch of pick'ems. We were going over this a little bit earlier. I mean, the amount of pick'ems in just sheer volume is ridiculous. Listen, I do like this on the higher easily. I think I put a pick'em slip together the other day where Burrow easily has been able to accomplish this. We know that Joe Flacco is going to throw over this number. There's a lot of other players here you could take advantage of. I mean, think about it. If Gabe Davis is going to be less than 100%, like this has got to be in the higher region. This is a guy that's just been in feasting over the last couple of weeks. But anyway, just putting it out there for those of you interested, you can go ahead and click the link down in the description of the video. Use promo code Andrew when you sign up, and when you make a first-time deposit using the code, you'll get a first-time deposit match up to $100. So if you're interested, check that out. Moving on, let's see here. A couple of the questions that were sent in. Who was next on this list that I may have missed? All right, so if you've sent a question in, expect that to be answered soon. I'm going to go rapid fire here just so we can catch up a little bit so we can get into the chat. Somebody in the chat. Okay, let's see here. What is that? Okay, we're good to go. So let me see here. Isaiah sends in a question. Says, Gabe Davis, London, James Robinson, full PPR. I'm probably playing Drake London there. Thank you, Isaiah. EC Livin says pick two in a full PPR scoring format. Ayuk, Shepard, Gallup, Trey Burks, and we have Dobbs. If it's my team, I'm playing Ayuk and I'm playing Sterling Shepard this week there. Thank you. Ken Lloyd, did we answer your question? We have not. Ken Lloyd asked the question. No, we did. We went. Yeah, okay, we did. Okay, cool. Just making sure. 916 Frosty says start Carr or Wentz with that upside. I mean, I purely just prefer Carr. I think Wentz certainly has, the potential to reach his upside, but I think Derek Carr is also in that same conversation. Carr is 250 passing yards each of the last 2 weeks, 2 passing touchdowns, and it's an even easier matchup in comparison. I think it was a far better play in my opinion. Boxer Card Production says Wilson, Allen Robinson, Thielen, Jacobs. I'm playing Allen Robinson there in the full PPR. Thank you. Boiler 2147 says wide receivers are Cooks, Samuels, McLaurin, Judy. My running backs are Patterson and Jacobs. I need to fill 2 wide receivers in a singular flex. Cooks and Samuels are your 2 wide receivers. And if you're playing in a full PPR, I'm probably going Judy in the flex. Otherwise, it's Jacobs in a half PPR. Thank you. Fainsky, hope you're doing well. Nice to see you. Been around the community for a while. Says, in a full PPR, do I play Devonta Smith, Josh Jacobs, or J.K. Dobbins? Great question. Thinking to myself, what the heck is the possibility of Jacobs being able to outproduce a Devonta Smith in that regard? My biggest concern is Devonta Smith comes out and puts up 4 catches for 40 yards. And I think very easily Josh Jacobs is going to be able to eclipse that number, and maybe even J.K. Dobbins, depending on how that goal line work presents itself. So I'm going to go Jacobs as of right now. Thank you very much, Fainsky. Cade Elliott says, need a quarterback today. Who do I grab? Geno, Jimmy G, Ryan, Flacco, Baker. Of the available options that you mentioned, I have Flacco ranked the highest. So that's where I would go in that regard. Thank you. Pitch says, start Higgins, Aaron Jones, Bateman, or Hollywood Brown in a PPR. If I'm playing one and only one, it's between it's between Aaron Jones and Higgins. Do I want to sit Aaron Jones? I probably can't sit Aaron Jones. So he probably gets the start. Actually, no, maybe I can. Let me see here. Where's my full PPR rankings? I might honestly have him below Higgins. Full PPR designation. Let's see here. Where do I have Higgins? I have Higgins there. No, I'm fairly certain I have Aaron Jones ahead of him. Where's Aaron Jones? Control F, Aaron Jones. Never mind. In a full PPR scoring format, I have T. Higgins at 25 and I have Aaron Jones at 29. So I play T. Higgins there. Last night I was going at it with these rankings. Holy moly. Interesting. We're sitting yeah, I guess I'm just gonna roll with what Andrew of a couple hours ago determined. Because I trust his judgment, his better judgment. Moving on, Phil, hope you're doing well. Nice to see you, man. Says, I need 2 wide receivers in a flex, full PPR. Okay, so let's see here. What do we have? We have Jefferson, we have A.J. Brown, we have Mike Williams. Okay, so for sure you're playing Jefferson and A.J. Brown. Those are your 2 wide receivers, undoubtedly. Now, if you're looking for another receiving option as your flex, of the available you have, Pittman and Sutton, I'd rather play Pittman. So it's J.J., A.J.B., and MPJ. Literally all the breakdown initial guys. So that's where I'm going with. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Phil. Nice to see you again. Travis Hayes says, half PPR, Devonta Smith, Allen Lazard, or Chase Edmonds. Of those 3 options, I have Allen Lazard ranked the highest in half PPR. So that's where I would go. Thank you, Travis. Alif says, PPR, need 2, Thielen, DK, Hollywood, CEH, and or Gibson. Of the potential that you mentioned, I'm going to go with Gibson and Hollywood. Thank you. KJ says Rams or Bengals defense. I'm fairly certain, like I mentioned a moment ago, maybe you missed it, I have Bengals ahead of Rams this weekend in terms of defenses. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's go ahead. Next question was from Lilish. Says 1, Mike Williams, Gabe Davis, Jeff Wilson Jr., Curtis Samuel. Again, if you're worried about the, let me see here. If I go NFL, let me see the morning slate of games. Where are we with this morning slate? If you're worried about Mike Williams, your next best option there is Curtis Samuel, Lilish. And honestly, I don't mind it. It's not too far off. Appreciate it. Matthew Crawl says, are we trading Damian Harris for Dameon Pierce? I don't know if I'm there yet, but we might eventually get there. I probably say still no, because I'm trying to think like who has more goal line upside, Patriots running backs or Houston Texans running backs. I'd probably say I'm still keeping Damian Harris there, considering Pierce isn't that heavily involved in the receiving games. If Pierce was getting 5 or 6 targets out of the backfield, catching 3 or 4 passes, I'd say 100%. But considering we're not at that position just yet, I just keep Damian Harris. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. Sean sends in a question. Says Juju Smith-Schuster, Elijah Moore, Brandon Ayuk, full PPR flex. Ooh, baby. Okay, so it's between Ayuk and it's between Juju. It's one of those 2 options. As of right now with Elijah Moore, he's going to have to, kind of wait, prove it, and then we'll see what we get out of him. I'm going to go Juju there. I'd rather have the number 1 of that offense, respectively, in comparison to going after Ayuk. I know Ayuk's going to have value, but Patrick Surtain's going to play today. He's probably going to be covering him for majority of the contest, so I'd go with, Juju Smith-Schuster against Indianapolis. Thank you. All right, Justin sends in a question. Says, now that Judy is playing, would you play him over Jeff Wilson Jr. in a full PPR? Yes, I would. Thank you. Traveling BS says, full PPR. Do I play flex, London, Connor, Pierce, Hall? I play London there. Thank you. Make Punk Rock Great Again says, got Michael Thomas and Christian Kirk with Dylan at the flex. Thinking about stacking Cousins with Thielen in place of Thomas. Now, if you were going to place Thielen into the lineup, I would play Thielen over Dylan. I would not replace Michael Thomas or Christian Kirk. That would be my suggestion, but you do what you want. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Play-by-play says Pierce or Judy in the flex. I'm probably playing Judy this week, especially if it's a full PPR scoring format. Justin says London or Cooks as my wide receiver 2. London is my suggestion. Want to play Dylan in the flex? I mean, again, if it's between Dylan and Brandon Cooks in the flex, I'd probably rather play Brandon Cooks. Thank you. What else do we have here? Okay, we're catching up. I'm going quickly. I'm trying to catch up, guys. Thank you very much for y'all that have already clicked the like button. We're almost at 600. That's greatly appreciated. Justin, we did that question. Bug Eye Nasty said Sanders or Robinson. Probably going Robinson there. Garrett Wilson or Brandon Cooks. I'd probably go Brandon Cooks there. Thank you. Mike Jones says half PPR. Bateman, Marquise Hollywood Brown, James Robinson. Half PPR. I'm probably going James Robinson there. Thank you. Yeah, no, not probably. I will go James Robinson there. Ryan D says pick 3 in a full PPR scoring format. We have the following: Jacobs, Hollywood, Cooks, Robinson. I'm playing Robinson. I'm playing Cooks. I'm playing Hollywood in a full PPR. I'm benching Jacobs out of those potential options there, Ryan. Thank you. Jinku, hope you're doing well. Nice to see you. Thank you very much. It says full PPR flex. Chase Edmonds as my RB2 now, or do I play one of these following? Oh, okay. So in a full PPR scoring format, I'm fairly certain I have Nyheim Hines ranked higher. Let me just confirm this. Full PPR, Nyheim Hines. Oh man, I have Chase Edmonds at 36, Nyheim Hines at 37. Okay. Do I really want to commit to that? Guess it's in terms of rushing upside, the receiving potential's there, especially against Buffalo. And then what were your other options? Oh, this is just purely for the flex, right? Okay. So never mind. Okay, Jinku, this is my suggestion. I'm playing Sterling Shepard in the flex there. Your question was, is Chase Edmonds an RB2 now? No, I think Chase Edmonds is an RB3 until further notice. So for right now, if you're playing just one of those players in the flex, it's Sterling Shepard. Sorry, I got confused for a second there. Aspen sends in a question, says Goff or Tua? If Herbert sits, I'd play Tua. Thank you. Colin Smith says, thoughts on starting a player against your defense? Nervous about playing Kirk versus the Chargers. I'm not so worried about that, purely. I think the only time, listen, let me think about this. The only time I'd ever be worried about playing a player against my own defense is if I'm playing my quarterback against the defense, right? It would almost be like, actually, maybe that's even advantageous in the idea of like your quarterback throws a pick 6, it's fine because you -2, but you're adding, 8. Still, I'm not too worried about ever playing a player against the defense that's on my same team. It never has bothered me to the point where I'm making adjustments accordingly. If I think that defense is going to play well, then effectively I expect that quarterback to play worse. But the wide receiver position isn't as heavily impacted in that regard. Somebody in the chat just asked Wentz or Stafford. I prefer Stafford this week. Thank you. Somebody inside said Cook, Thielen, Keenan Allen, or Bateman. In a full PPR, in a perfect world, if Herbert plays, I want Keenan Allen in there. Otherwise, it's Brandon Cooks as the pivot option there, hard times. All right, moving on. Colin Smith, your follow-up question. Okay, yeah, we got there, Colin. I'm okay with playing Christian Kirk even against the Chargers defense on your same roster. Fantasy Champ says, thoughts on CEH? I think he should be fine. My biggest concern with CEH is the fact that, again, Jerick McKinnon, Isaiah Pacheco, they are pretty active participants in this backfield in terms of the rotation of snaps, touches, all across the board within this offense. It's enough to where it bothers me to where, yes, CEH has touchdown upside. He has great opportunity. All this kind of, great. I mean, the offense he's associated is great. The offensive line is fantastic. But when you look at last week's snap percentages, he played 44% of the snaps while Jerick McKinnon played 47%. The week prior to that, in week 1, they both split equally 39% of the offensive snaps. This is going to be a running back by committee situation. And unless CEH actually scores every single one of those backfield touchdowns, he didn't do that this last weekend, last Thursday night when they played against the Chargers. He's really going to need a lot more, utilization through the air on the ground to get him into that conversation if they're splitting it as such. So as of right now, I'm leaving him at a pretty safe position, but I'm not thinking anything higher than that. Michael, thank you very much for the question. He says, standard league, James Robinson or Drake London. If I'm playing just one in a standard league, I'm probably going James Robinson. Thank you. Appreciate that. Miles says, greetings and salutations, Andrew. I need a wide receiver 2 and a flex option. My potential players are Dylan, Jacobs, Thielen, Ayuk, Shepard. Okay, if we're playing a couple of those options, I'm probably going with, let me think here. I'm assuming this is a half PPR, because if it is, I'm probably playing Jacobs as my flex option there, and my wide receiver 2 is most likely going to be Ayuk. Thank you. Appreciate it. Alrighty. Just another reminder again, guys. On screen to the right of me, we have updated rankings for a half PPR scoring format, top to bottom. Top 36 running backs, wide receivers, top 16 quarterbacks and tight ends. Hopefully those answer your questions. Again, the separation of value isn't really that much. If, for example, somebody in the comment section just asked, Jacobs or Gibson, right? When we look at two options like that, right? And I have Gibson ahead of him in my half PPR rankings, and we know Gibson gets far more utilization as a receiving threat in comparison to Jacobs, then we know, hey, even in a full PPR, we're still going to play Gibson, even probably at a better position accordingly. Someone asked Kittle or Pitts. Again, like on screen, I prefer Kittle this week. We're good to go. So hopefully those interpositional questions can be answered on screen. That's the whole point of it, trying to help you guys out as much as I can with free rankings. If you guys do appreciate that, be sure to click the like button. Try to get us to 700 likes. Greatly appreciate that as well. Thank you. All right, Ivar Bones sends in a question, but there wasn't a message attached to Ivar, so I'm going to see if I can find her name in the chat. Ivar, that was probably sent in a while ago. If you could do me a favor, Ivar, while we're here, just type in the chat what your question was. That'd be greatly appreciated, so I could just kind of answer that and not leave you hanging. Let's see here. We have Derek Carr or Kirk Cousins today. Again, like it says on screen, that should give you an indication as to where my rankings are. So again, as of right now, I'm playing I'm playing tongue twister. I'm playing Kirk Cousins over Derek Carr. Wow, why was that so difficult? I don't know. Ivar, are you somewhere in this chat? Maybe? No. Maybe almost? Okay. I'm waiting for you, Ivar. Where you at? Follow-up question from Chigo was, I'm having a tough time deciding between Josh Jacobs, Damian Pierce, James Robinson as my running back today. I played James Robinson there. I mean, again, the amount of opportunity he's been given and the fact that he's looked as good as he has is a surprise in itself, but I'm still rolling with him. Let's see here. What do we have? Jonathan Miner says, half PPR, RB2. Are we rolling with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, AJ Dillon, or Chase Edmonds? I'm playing Clyde Edwards-Helaire as that RB2 position. Thank you. We have the Mr. NYM says Herbert, Stafford, or Tua. My opponent has Cup. Again, if you're worried about the potential of Herbert not playing this afternoon, let me see here. Are the Rams on the afternoon slate? Let's see here. Or are they in the morning slate? I'm assuming they're probably going to be in the afternoon, considering So at this point, you wait until the afternoon. If Herbert's not active, you play Stafford, and you're good to go there. Appreciate it. Is Ivar in this chat? No Ivar yet. Wait, did we find him? No. Didn't find it. Unfortunate. No problem. Okay, moving on. I'm trying to catch up as quickly as I can. We're moving on. Jonathan Miner, we did that. Mr. NYM, yep. Okay. Omar G says, should I trust Gabe Davis or DK Metcalf? I have Aguilar as well. Should you trust Gabe Davis? The trust factor. Okay, if I have to explain to you in terms of a 1 to 10 scale, 10 being I trust him without a doubt in my mind, and 1 being I don't trust him at all, I probably keep Gabe Davis at about a 7 right now. If he's playing, it's because he's able to play, and that's why I have him at his current rank. So at this point, I do expect him to play lesser snaps, but he's still that much more of a dynamic player than a lot of these other players. And quite frankly, he is the only other guy outside of Stephon Diggs that I trust in this offense. So I'm okay with that. Let's see here. Nick said, have you answered my question yet? No, I don't believe so. Let me go ahead and scroll here, Nick. No, we're catching up to it in just a moment, all right? Appreciate your guys' patience there. Michael Alvarado says, PPR, Logan Thomas, Jerick McKinnon, Jarvis Landry, or Robert Woods. If I'm playing just one of those potential 4 options, it's either Jarvis or Logan Thomas. I'm probably going Logan Thomas there. Thank you. Benny Randy says, half PPR, I need a running back, wide receiver, and a flex. We have these available options. Appreciate it, man. No problem. All right, so here's the dealio. Of those available options that you mentioned, I'm playing James Robinson at running back. I am playing Brandon Cooks at wide receiver. And I'm playing Christian Kirk at the flex. That's where I'm going with. Thank you, Benny. Fendi says, I have Herbert at 1 p.m. I have Brady at 1 p.m. I have Flacco at 10 a.m. and I have Geno at 1 p.m. Are the only options that are good that are available. Do I wait for Herbert or start some of the other options? No, I would wait for Herbert and If he can't go, you play Brady. Thank you very much, Fendi. The Zenin Kamal says, I have Zeke over Pollard. Oh, sorry. You say, I see Zeke over Pollard. Going with Pollard. Am I crazy? No, I don't think you're crazy. I'm okay with that. Again, if Pollard continues to get the utilization out of the backfield that we saw last week, then he has a pretty good chance of continuing to be, probably a top 24 guy. But until we get there, Zeke is still going to get himself his 15 rushing attempts. And that is what kind of gives me a little bit more of a lean in his direction, because I'm expecting him to far greater be the goal line back if, in fact, they ever get down there. Except for last week, especially because, Pollard breaks off that big run. He gets down to the 1. They call it back. They punch it in with him. No problem. Okay. Jordy says, not sure if you got my message with the donation. I definitely got it, Jordy. It's just, okay, the message is not attached to it. Jordy, if you can do me a favor and just type it into the chat right now, I'll immediately answer it, and then we'll keep moving. Let's see here. Who else was on this list? So Fendi's done. We did that. Okay. Michael Alvarado says, okay, so Michael or Brees. No, I'd still probably play Logan Thomas there. Thank you. Michael, appreciate that. Juan Rivera says, just subscribe. Great content. Appreciate that, Juan. Full PPR. Starting Jefferson and Pittman as my starting wide receivers. I need a flex option. Gabe Davis, Marquise Brown, Damian Harris, or Pollard. As of the potential options that you mentioned in a full PPR scoring format, I feel most comfortable playing Marquise Hollywood Brown this week. That's my suggestion. Righty, okay, so Jordy, I see your questions. Says, I don't know. The super chat stuff works. No, I see it, Jordy. No problem. Pick 2, Kirk, Judy, DK, Bateman. Okay, so of the available options you mentioned, if we're picking 2 of them, I'm picking Jerry Judy, and I'm playing Christian Kirk as well in a half PPR. And then in the flex position, you also have Zeke, Noah, Brown, Darrell, Williams, if in fact Connor doesn't go. I'd probably, out of those available options in the flex, either go DK Metcalf or Bateman. I'm probably leaning towards Bateman in the upside there. So those are my suggestions there, Jordy. Thank you very much. Cody says, Keenan Allen or Dameon Pierce? I'd rather play Keenan Allen. Issues if Allen can't go. I also have ETN. Let me see here. Looking at the slate of games. So when does Houston play? Houston plays early, right? Let's see here. Where is Houston? Houston's in the morning. Yeah. I mean, at this point, that's probably the direction that I would lean with. You try to play Keenan Allen. If you can't, then you just swap him out with the next available best option you have there. Somebody in the chat said London or Gabe Davis. Again, another reminder for those of you who are here. I do greatly appreciate your guys' participation in the chat, supporting the channel via the like button, viewership, sharing, watching, doesn't matter. You guys have definitely helped me build this channel to where it is today. Greatly appreciate you guys' support. Do not forget the rankings that are on screen to the right of me are updated rankings for a half PPR, top 36 running backs, wide receivers, top 16 quarterbacks, and tight ends. So if you're questioning, like I see in the chat, London or Gabe Davis, Dobbins or McKissick, Brees Hall or Cam Akers, there are a lot of questions. Somebody was asking Kirk Cousins or Tua, right? Hopefully the questions can be answered by just looking on screen and getting those immediately. I know like the flex questions, like someone just asked Garrett Wilson or Miles Sanders. I'd rather go Miles Sanders there in a half PPR. So I know those aren't on screen, but that would be a lot. I mean, the whole real estate would be gone at that point. The amount of flex rankings you'd have to kind of put out in that regard. So anyway, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Where are we at here? So we had Cody's question done. We have ET now. ET says full PPR, tight ends to start. Juwan Johnson. Okay, so we have Juwan from the Saints. We have Hayden Hurst. We have Conklin. We have Evan Ingram. We have Albert Okwuegbunam. Of the available options that you mentioned, in a full PPR scoring format, it is purely between Evan Ingram or Tyler Conklin, in my opinion. If I'm picking one, without a doubt in my mind, full PPR, let's go to my full PPR rankings. We currently have Evan Ingram ahead of Tyler Conklin, number 14 and number 15. So that's where I would go with. I'm going Evan Ingram in that regard. Thank you very much, ET. Devin sent in a question. Devin, I don't see a message attached to it. Let me see if I can find your question, though, my guy. Okay. Devin said Jalen Waddle or Curtis Samuel. Jalen Waddle this week, for sure. Thank you, Devin. I appreciate that, my man. Moving on. Travis says, good morning, Andrew. Woke up to the news of Josh Jacobs being active. Do I play Jacobs over James Robinson? No, I wouldn't. I play James Robinson. Full PPR. Also, Herbert over Stafford. I currently have Stafford in my lineup. Again, they both play. If Herbert's active, I want him in my lineup. If he's not, I just pivot to Stafford and you're good to go there. VA says, now that Judy plays, Sutton or Gabe Davis? I'm still 100% on the Sutton train. And then your follow-up question, VA, was Everett or Irv Smith? I play... If Herbert is active, I'm playing Everett. That's what we're going with. Jack says, are you going to read the donated messages? Currently doing that, Jack. I'm trying to catch up. There's a lot of them, guys. Jack, just to answer your question, I know you asked. You were asking Jeff Wilson Jr. or Jacobs. That was your primary question. And then you also had a question saying, also drop Edmonds and Penny. Also, I mean, listen, as of right now, I'd keep Penny for this week just to kind of see what kind of utilization he gets in this matchup against the Falcons. But if we're playing Jacobs or Jeff Wilson Jr., in my opinion, I'd rather have Jacobs out there just because of the offense in itself. So thank you. Okay, going back up the list. We're almost caught up. Where are we at? Okay, we did VA's question. Jimmy Casket. Thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate that, my man. Look Fournette playing at 4, and all of my other running backs are okay. If am I screwed if I drop? I would say keep it monitored. If we get to a position where okay, look, from what I've read, Fournette's playing today, so I wouldn't even make that like quick. We got to drop Damian Harris immediately to pick up Rachaad White. I think it is smart to have your handcuff on roster, but at this moment, from everything that I've seen, the limited participation in practice, the reports that I've heard, he's playing today. So I'm not too worried about it, Jimmy. I would just roll with Leonard Fournette today, and you're fine. Sean Bonds says, start London, Pierce, or Penny. I play London there. Your follow-up question was Logan Thomas or Irv Smith. I'd play Logan Thomas. Thank you. Nick's Playground says Dobbins or Nyheim Hines. In a full PPR, it's closer, but I'm still probably going with Dobbins and letting it roll. John G, thank you very much. John, did you have a question? Let me see here. John G, any question? He had a Breece Hall versus Cam Akers question. As of right now, if we're talking half PPR, it's most likely leaning in the direction of Cam Akers. If it's full PPR, it's probably leaning in the direction of Breece Hall. So that's what I would say, John. Appreciate it. Maz says sit 1. Sutton, Higgins, Mike Williams, Hendo, Judy. If I'm sitting 1, I'm probably sitting Hendo, to be honest, Maz. Thank you. Devin says Jalen Waddle, Curtis Samuel. We did that one. We went with Waddle. Big Dog 1 says full PPR, Russell Gage, Tyler Higbee, or Rashad Penny. If I'm playing one out of those 3 options, no joke, I'm playing Tyler Higbee. Thank you. Bug-Eye Nasty says Sanders or Cooks in the flex position. If it's a half PPR, I play Sanders. If it's a full, I'm playing Cooks. Thank you. Alex says full PPR, Keenan Allen or Curtis Samuel. I want to play Keenan Allen. If Herbert's ready to go, Allen's ready to go, you play him. The whole question is, can you wait until you can see if they're both active? You can't. So I just say go with the safer option, play Curtis Samuel, you'll find in the morning slate. Robbie Red, and that's mainly because Curtis Samuel is a good enough option to be deemed a potential play in that regard. Robbie Red says, sick Josh Jacobs or Damian Harris. I'd still play sick Josh Jacobs. That's what I would do. Isaac Bennett says, pick 1. Just traded Lenny for Sutton. Kenneth Walker, Eno Benjamin, Raheem Mostert, or Rachaad White in a half PPR. If I'm playing 1 today in a half PPR scoring format, it's most likely playing Raheem Mostert. Thank you very much, Bennett. Joe Imar says, ETN or Ramondre Stevenson as my RB2. I'd play Ramondre Stevenson there. Thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate it. Oliver Blue says, half PPR, Dillon, Stevenson, Olave, Dotson, Edmonds. Of those available, I'm going with A.J. Dillon. Thank you. Jack, we got to your question already. We're playing Jacobs there. Jordy, we got to your question earlier. Josh Helmuth, thank you very much, Josh. Says, trade Mixon and Debo for Patterson and Kupp. No, I would rather have Mixon and Debo rest season. Thank you. Alex Nava says, full PPR, Sutton or Curtis Samuel. I prefer Sutton this week. Thank you. Huck Brooks says, I need an RB2 in a flex in a standard scoring format. These are my potential 4 options. I really need help. No problem. Okay, so here we go. Of your options in a standard scoring format, I'm playing RB2 as a... let me think about this. Do I want to play... Ooh, yeah. RB2, I'm going A.J. Dillon, and flex, I'm going Christian Kirk there. In a standard scoring format, Huck. I appreciate that. Kelly Barlow says, how confident are you with DJ Moore over Garrett Wilson? DJ Moore's history of performances against the Saints gives me the only confidence that I have in that regard. Otherwise, I don't trust Baker at all. There's a reason why the Saints are the number one defense that I have for this week. I'm expecting Baker to turn over the ball quite a bit. So my assumption is that we may get a game where the Saints score a bunch. We have Baker throwing for the entirety of the second half. That doesn't really hurt DJ Moore. He's going to get his targets. He's going to get his opportunities. So that's why I'm leaning in that direction in comparison to, yes, Flacco could very easily air the ball out the entire game like he has done over the last couple weeks. But my assumption is that based off of the performance that Garrett Wilson put forth last week, they may just double cover him and say, Flacco, beat us with the other options. That could very easily be a potential option this week. Austin Mixon says, Connor or Montgomery? Montgomery, without a doubt, no questions. Fantasy Champ says, CEH or Garrett Wilson in a non-PPR flex league. Non-PPR, I'd probably go CEH there, more touchdown upside. Average Dan, let's see if you had a question attached. Average Dan says, Mike Evans and Myers are both out. Who do I play in the flex position in a full PPR scoring format? In a full PPR, I would it's probably one of those two receiving options. It's either Shepard or it's either Gage. Let me go to my full PPR rankings one moment. Full PPR, wide receiver. We have, I'm still going with Gage there. We go Russell Gage. Thank you very much, Average Dan. Nathan J says Standard League, Allen Robinson or Michael Carter in the flex. I go Allen Robinson there, more touchdown upside. I'm going Stafford. I'm going up against Stafford. Yeah, I guess you could just negate the Stafford points in that regard as well. Brett Wood says Kittle or Everett in a full PPR this week. I'm playing Kittle, no questions. I'm fully ready to go. He had a full participation of practice on Friday, and even Kyle Shanahan in an interview or I guess press conference this week said that there's no limitations to Kittle. He's going to be utilized at his maximum capacity. So that's what we're hoping for. And with Jimmy G there, we already know that connection is pretty tight. So he's going to get himself his fair share of targets, be a fantastic option going forward. Jay says half PPR, Connor, Dobbins, Sutton, Cooks, Juju. Pick one wide receiver, one flex. If I'm picking a wide receiver there, I'm playing Sutton. If I'm picking a flex option there, it is most likely Connor if he plays. Otherwise, we pivot to Cooks. It would go Connor, Cooks, Dobbins, Juju for those remaining options. John G, we answered that question. Josh Helmuth had another question. Says also Chicago defense or Buccaneers. Let's see here. Where's my rankings? Again, just a reminder, I'm going to go ahead and I think this is the third time today, we're going to go over our top 12 defenses. You guys ready for it? Here we go. Saints, Bills, Cowboys, Ravens, 49ers, Broncos, Bengals, Buccaneers, Chargers, Rams, Eagles, Chiefs. So, to answer your question, specifically, I'd play the Bucs defense. Thank you. Konnichiwa 1234 says full PPR, pick two wide receivers and one flex option. We have these available. Okay, so of the available that you've mentioned, probably in the position of where I'm going Kirk, Davis, Williams. Yeah, those are the three. Kirk, Davis, Williams. Thank you very much. Jaden Thornton says, should I trade Chase to get Gabe Davis and Jay Williams? Probably not. It depends on what your depth looks like and how much depth you require for this team, but I'm thinking I'd rather have Jamar Chase. Brandon Liu says half PPR, two flex options. Of the available, what do I do? We have Ayuk, Wilson. I'm assuming Wilson is either Garrett or Jeff. I don't know which one you're referring to there, Brandon Liu. But with that said, I'd play either of those Wilsons. So one of those Wilsons are playing. So whatever one it is, play that guy. And in your following option, I'm probably going with Dobbins there. Thank you. Ulysses Ventura says, PPR, flex two options. Here we have Dortch, Julio, Breece Hall, Melvin Gordon. If I'm playing two, I'm playing Breece Hall and Greg Dortch. Thank you. Ray says PPR, flex option, Elijah Moore, Ramondre, Etienne, Robbie Anderson, Walker. If I'm playing one of those options, it is most likely Elijah Moore there. Thank you. And then also, what do you think about the Jags defense? If Justin Herbert doesn't play, I'd consider it, but I don't think Chase Daniel is that bad of a backup quarterback. Just putting it in perspective. There's a reason why he's been a backup quarterback for as long as he has. Jay says Max Crosby or Joey Bosa on the D-line today. Thanks, bro. I don't know how IDP scoring works, but if I had to pick one, I would most likely I feel more comfortable with Max Crosby causing more havoc and getting more stats. Jerry Eccles says Keenan Allen or Antonio Gibson. I probably in a half PPR go Gibby there. If it's a full PPR, it's probably Keenan Allen. Thank you. Rich L says 12-team Superflex uses team QBs. Do I go with Goff at 1 p.m. or roll the dice with Herbert? Also have Lamar starting. Also Judy or Higbee in the flex. Judy in the flex. Leave Kittle at tight end. And then in terms of whether or not we roll with, is Goff is in the morning slate, right? Goff is in the morning slate. I don't know what your next best available option is if Herbert does not play. So I think you just roll with Goff there. So unless you have an option that is like on screen in my rankings as your next best available quarterback that you can put in outside of, Herbert and Goff to play, alongside Lamar Jackson, I'd probably just stay with the safer option and just rolling with Mr. Goff there. Okay. Catching up, guys. Catching up. Jonathan McMaster says, standard league Singletary or Darrell Henderson? Darrell Henderson, no questions asked. We're good to go there. That's a great play in a standard format. Flipside Fishin says, I need a help with the following options. We need to pick two, a wide receiver 3 and a flex. Full PPR, 14-team league. These are my options. I play Lazard and I play Dortch. Those are my two suggestions there. Flipside, appreciate it. Derek sends in a question. Says, start 3. Gabe Davis, Metcalf, Juju, Olave, Ramondre Stevenson. Thank you very much for all that you do in the fantasy community. Thank you very much, Derek. I appreciate that. Of the available options, if we're starting 3, it's Davis, Metcalf, and it's Juju. Those are the 3 that I feel most comfortable with going out this week. So that's where I would play. Problem Bless says Javonte Williams or DK Metcalf. I have JT and Swift starting. I'd still play Javonte Williams as your third player there in the flex. Josh Perry says half PPR, Lazard, Gage, or Shepard. Half PPR. Of those 3 options, I go Gage. That's my suggestion at the moment. Thank you. Matt says full PPR, format. Gibson, Hall, Dillon, RB2. I play Gibson there. Thank you very much. Matt's Brozio. So moving on to Just Get It Done says, I have Kirk Cousins, I have Justin Herbert. We playing Herbert over Cousins? No. If you have a good enough option in that regard where it's close enough in my rankings, just play Kirk Cousins and do not worry about what happens in the afternoon slate. Following question was, and pick 2, Michael Williams, Cooks, Samuel, Gabe Davis. You play Samuel, and then if we're playing another option there, it's probably, it's one of those weeks, huh? Here's the thing. When did the Bills play? Are the Bills in the early window? Let me check here. They are in the early window. So you're pretty much relegated to having to play everyone except for Mike Williams. So, you're probably going Cooks and Samuel there at this point. Just get it done because you're trying to avoid the potential risk of not having a receiver with Herbert in that lineup. DeAndre Warren says Zach Moss or Mark Ingram. If I'm playing one of those 2 options, I probably play Mark Ingram. And then the following is it's Jerick McKinnon or Kenneth Walker. I play Jerick McKinnon there. Thank you very much. Alrighty, we're almost caught up. Brett Wood says, you're the GOAT. Also, Ramondre or Zeke at the RB2 spot. I play Zeke this week. Thank you. Liam Rothschild. Let's hear Liam. Where are you on this list? Because there wasn't a message attached to it. So let me see if I can find one. Liam says, Keenan Allen is good to go? Question mark. Again, we will not have 100% confirmation until later this afternoon because they don't play until the 1 o'clock, my time, 1 o'clock window, 1 p.m. PST. And until we get to that position, we won't have 100% designation as to whether or not he is good to go until warmups. So if you have an option that is close to him in the rankings, you could play them and just kind of avoid any sort of doubt or risk. Jay says, do you feel if Connor plays, he will be very limited? No, I don't believe so. I don't think they have to play him. That's the main reason. So as of right now, I would say we're most likely in a position where if he plays, he's going to play. And probably like a 70% clip. Riney5 says CeeDee Lamb, Romeo Dubs, Thielen, MVS, Devonta Smith. If I'm playing one, I'm playing CeeDee Lamb there. Thank you very much, Riney. Greg Sanchez says Michael Carter or J.K. Dobbins. I play J.K. Dobbins this week. If it's a full PPR, I could consider the Carter play, but I really want to play. I just want to play Dobbins. I just want him in my lineup because I actually think he probably gets 10 touches today. And if he's anything close to what he was, I mean, he could very easily break off a pretty nice run, be the goal line back, and be everything for that offense that they really need in the running game. And they've desperately been missing for the last 2 years. Let's see here. Rocket says, standard league, Thielen, Chark, or Mooney. I play Thielen there. Thank you. Ethan Adams says, Dylan, Damian Pierce, T. Higgins, Cooper. For Swift, no. Keep the depth. I'd rather have T. Higgins, Amari Cooper, Dylan, and Damian Pierce over DeAndre Swift, 100%. Unless you're playing in like a 4-team league, that would be the only other reason why you would want to give away all those players for just one. Evan says, start who? Cooks or Bateman? I prefer Cooks. And then your following question was Connor or Breece Hall? I'd rather play Connor. Suan says, let's see here, Suan. What was the question? Says Kamara, Sutton, Pitts, Higgins for the flex position. If I'm playing only one option there, let me check here. Where's my half? Okay, full PPR rankings. I have Kamara ahead of the gang. And then where is my half PPR? I'm fairly certain I'd probably still lean with Kamara there, but I have to confirm. Kamara, yes. So Kamara is the guy that I play in the flex there. Thank you very much. Jay Less says, Higbee or Knox? I'd rather play Higbee this week for sure. Target opportunity, better matchup, all of that across the board. Mean Gene says, full PPR, J.K. Dobbins or Zach Ertz? In a full PPR, I'd rather play Zach Ertz. Thank you. Donahue Brown says, start 2, McLaurin, Keenan Allen, Allen Robinson. I'm playing Allen Robinson for sure. And it's a question between Keenan Allen or McLaurin. Can you afford to wait for Keenan Allen? Because if you can, I'd rather play Keenan Allen for sure. But the question is, what other wide receiver option do you have? Because if McLaurin plays and by the time you get to the afternoon window and we don't have an opportunity to replace Keenan Allen, I mean, like who else is that option? If it's a good enough one, if you have like maybe like, I don't know, Gage in the afternoon window, maybe that could be a player, maybe Sterling Shepard for Monday to replace Keenan Allen if he's not available. That's what I'm thinking I'd rather do. How do I feel about Greg Dortch? Says comeback player of the year in the chat. I think Greg Dortch is a decent option right now in my half PPR rankings. I currently have Greg Dortch as my number 42 wide receiver. A little bit higher in a full, but kind of in that same kind of category as right now. So that's kind of where I have him. Moving on. I accidentally refreshed my screen and all the donations have disappeared. So I got to go and I got to find them again. Who was on the list? Okay, so we did Donahue. Moving on to San Thomas, 21, says Dobbins or Shepard in the flex. In a full PPR, it's Sterling. In a half, I go Dobbins. EC Livin says, only 5 bench spots. Do I drop Treylon Burks for Dawson Knox? I have TJ Hawkinson at the tight end position, then Godwin, Myers, Penny, Gallup on the bench. Love the channel. Thank you very much. Okay, so at this point, I'd say probably not. I keep Treylon Burks. I just play Hawkinson there at the tight end position. If you want to drop Hawkinson for Knox, you could do that. If that's what you would rather kind of pivot towards. But as of this moment, no, I wouldn't drop Treylon Burks. A couple more questions here that I need to catch up on. We have To The Max says full PPR flex, Miles Sanders, Dobbins, Edmonds, Jeff Wilson, Sutton, Thielen. Thanks, Andrew. Trade question, Miles Sanders for Breece Hall. Yeah, if you're trying to look towards the future of the season, I don't mind that. Miles Sanders, J.K. Dobbins. Okay, so of your available options, I'm playing Sutton there To The Max. Thank you. Half PPR, Thielen, Pitts, Akers, Dobbins. If we're playing in a half PPR and it's Kyle Pitts or Dobbins, I think I'd rather play Kyle Pitts there. Romeo says, greetings, salutations, London or Kirk in a full PPR? Christian Kirk, thank you. PPR, Olave, Aguilar, or Burks? I'm probably leaning towards Olave and then Aguilar, then Burks in that exact order. Also, do you know the status of Herbert and Keenan Allen? No, we don't know the status as of this moment. We're assuming that they will be playing based on their practice participation over the course of the week. And that's kind of what we're going off of. My other option is to play Burrow. I would just play Burrow in that case. So, Flo, thank you. Grady Hoffman says, should I stick with Tom Brady without weapons or look to the wire for a guy like Jared Goff? Wow. Jared Goff is right next to him in my rankings. Mariota is probably, I think, 17 on my board. I think Jimmy G is outside of there. Grady, if you want to play Jared Goff, I don't mind it over Tom Brady, but it's tough to do. It really is tough to do. I'm willing to play Goff over Rodgers, but man, it's tough to do over Brady. Let's see here. Grant sends in a question, says, Robinson, Dillon, Akers, start one. I play James Robinson there. Thank you very much. Shair, let's see here. Shair, where the heck did my chat go? Where the heck did it go? Okay, there it is. Let's quickly. Okay, Shair. Is there any questions from you, Shair? Okay, there we go. Full PPR. Okay, Shair says, full PPR, would you trade Aaron Jones and Tyler Lockett for Corey Davis and Joe Mixon and Jerry Jeudy? Yes, I would. I'd rather have Joe Mixon than Aaron Jones the rest of the season. That's mainly the reason why I would do that trade. Thank you. Okay, where are we at here? So, we did Shair's question. We did Grant's question. Riney says, start two, full PPR, Dobbs, Thielen, or Devonta Smith, or MVS. I would play Thielen and Devonta Smith there. Riney 5, thank you. Jeremy says, full PPR, Higbee or Ertz, Goff or Mariota. I play Goff over Mariota. I'd play Higbee over Ertz in a full PPR. Thank you. Justin says, trade Breece Hall for Ramondre Stevenson. I'd probably say no. Just keep Breece Hall. He's eventually going to take the starting spot there. Jeff says, quick, need to. How close are we? Yeah, we got a lot of time, guys. It's 9:25. We got a lot of time. Need to choose my wide receiver 2 in a flex potential option. Sutton, Drake, Garrett Wilson, Curtis Samuel. Sutton, Drake, Garrett Wilson, Curtis Samuel. If we're picking a wide receiver 2, it's Sutton. If we're picking a flex option, I'm going Drake London there. Thank you. DeAndre Warren says Ayuk or Breece Hall, full PPR. I play Ayuk there. Thank you. Mean Gene says Hollywood Brown or Jacobs. I play Hollywood Brown there. Thank you. Moving on, we have Isaac saying Pierce, Jacobs, or Dillon in the full PPR scoring format. I prefer Jacobs. That is my, inclination to play him. If you prefer one of those other two options, again, in a full PPR, I think Dillon could very easily get into that conversation because of his receiving upside. It's just a matter of how much he actually gets this week in comparison to weeks past. Satoshi says, traded Higgins, Julio, Patterson for Javonte and Moore in a half PPR Superflex League. Thoughts? Higgins, I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm perfectly fine. I mean, at least you're getting the running back depth you want. That's the whole point of it, right? I don't know what the rest of your team looks like, but that's the whole main purpose. My other wide receivers are Evans and Hollywood and Sutton, and I also have Derrick Henry. Yeah, so if Javonte is going to be your RB2 rest of the season in comparison to Patterson, I'm okay with that trade. Tropic says, Brandon Cooks or Curtis Samuel in a half PPR. Currently have Brandon Cooks ahead of him, I believe, on screen. Again, do not forget, guys, for those of you who are here, I greatly appreciate you guys supporting the channel with your viewership, clicking the like button, all of the above. To the right of me, we have updated rankings for a half PPR. So if you have a question, you don't have to send in a donation to get it answered. You can get it answered there in that regard. As of right now, Brandon Cooks as my number 19, Curtis Samuel as my number 22 on screen. So that should give you a little bit of an indication where I would go. Thank you, Tropic. iShine101, hope you're doing very well. Thank you very much for the generous donation. You've been a part of the community for a while, so thank you. Says, sub Drew, AJ Dillon or Chase Edmonds in the flex. For sure going to play AJ Dillon there. Chase Edmonds is, again, he's almost being phased out of that offense, which is really weird to see, but it is what it is. So we're just going to play AJ Dillon there in a full PPR. And then you have Aaron Jones already. You're looking for the RB2. You said, I've learned that Buffalo defense is decimated. I'm sure they're going to play soft coverage against Miami speedy wide receivers. I'm assuming that's... Am I lagging? No. We didn't get any drop frames. We'll be fine. I'm under the assumption that, yes, there may be a chance that they're going to play soft coverage, probably sit in cover 2 the entire day and just try to bottle up those receivers. Even with that being the case, I think there's a higher likelihood of Raheem Mostert being that early down back instead of Chase Edmonds. I shine. So I'm going to go with A.J. Dillon there. Thank you. Chris R. says, do I flex Curtis Samuel or Gabe Davis? I prefer Curtis Samuel as of right now. Thank you. Lalo Mendoza says, Jeff Wilson Jr., James Robinson, or Tony Pollard. I play James Robinson there. As for your follow-up question, Hollywood Brown or Allen Robinson, I play Hollywood Brown in that regard. Thank you. DeAndre Warren, start 2, full PPR, flex. Henderson, DK, J-Rob. I'd play DK and I would play J-Rob. Thank you. Michael sends in a question. Oliveris says, combo T. Higgins. Sorry, I saw Higgins because that was a different question. Oh, no, it was actually the Higbee thing. Combo Higbee / Thielen or Ertz / Allen Robinson. If I had to pick combo, I'd rather have the Allen Robinson side of that. Thank you. Rich the Indian says, Michael Thomas or Sutton. I prefer Sutton this week. That is where I would go. Someone in the chat, Jarhead2936, said Cousins or Stafford. Again, guys, on screen we have updated rankings. So the rankings that are on screen would give you an idea as to where I would go in a 4-point per passing touchdown format. In a 6-point per passing touchdown format, it would definitely change the rankings. But as of right now, that's where I would go. Drew Thornhill says traded Fournette plus Bateman for Mixon and Gabe Davis. Thoughts? I like that trade a lot. Yeah, I prefer Mixon a lot in comparison to Fournette rest season. Pedro sends in a question. Pedro's Lucario says, number 1 in my league at 2-0. I benched Amari Cooper. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But rate the standard team: Kupp, Lamar, Cooks, Javonte, Montgomery, Kittle. I mean, you're in a pretty good spot. Curtis Samuel, Gibson. If I was you, I would probably look to try to, maybe get that Gibson, get that Curtis Samuel, and try to sell them if possible in the coming weeks here, before the incredible offense of that Washington team begins to come back down to earth. That's my only suggestion. Otherwise, pretty solid team there. Okay. I think I've effectively caught up. I believe I have. I can confirm this one more time. Let me go refresh this page and then I'll know for certain. I believe I've caught up. Let me go ahead, scroll down a bit here. We did Jeremy. Yep, we did that. We did that. We did Grady. We're good to go all the way to the top. All right, we've caught up effectively. That's beautiful. So let's look at the chat, see what you guys have here. Willie Chavez in the chat says, Julio Jones, risky play or go with Mostert / Edmonds in a non-PPR. I'd rather play Mostert there. I think Julio is a risky play. I think his potential of not playing today also does make him in line with a guy that you might want to avoid because he plays in the afternoon window in comparison to the immediate window at the start of the day. So I played Mostert there, Willie. Let's see here. Lazard or Gage in a full PPR. I'd rather play Russell Gage there. Big Dog Pound 1 says, hello, start 1 wide receiver. Flex is Allen Robinson, either DJ Moore, Dortch, Damian Pierce, Dotson, or Olave. Okay, so if we're playing a wide receiver or flex, I'm probably going A-Rob and I'm playing DJ Moore. Those are the two, especially if it's full PPR. Thank you. Justin says, how do you feel about starting both Pitts and London? I'm perfectly fine with it. If it wasn't against Seattle, I'd be worried, but at this point, I'm fine with that. J-Rob or Jacobs, says David Sexton. Again, guys, rankings are on screen. I would go with J-Rob over Jacobs. Rob says Connor or Pollard, Andrew. I'd play Connor, like it says on screen. But again, it's a matter of whether or not Connor plays. So if we get to the afternoon window of games where the Rams take afternoon my time, so 1 p.m. my time, Eastern, that would be 4 p.m., right? If we get to that slate of games and Connor's not active and you don't have the ability to put in Darrell Williams in his stead, then you would just play Pollard on Monday night. So you would swap that out quickly. Let's see here. Masenko says, Gage, Duvernay, Landry, Corey Davis, full PPR. I play Russell Gage there. Thank you very much. Scott Zhao says, half PPR, Michael Thomas or J-Rob? Michael Thomas or J-Rob? I'm probably playing Michael Thomas there. Thank you. What do you think about Cole Beasley, says FBP1. Cole Beasley at this moment, I know he was activated to the off of the practice squad to the active roster. I don't know how much he's going to play. Obviously, they signed him because they're dealing with a lot of injuries and a lot of players that are not going to be playing. I just don't know if I can immediately trust them blindly. Have I picked him up on my teams? Yes, I've picked him up accordingly, left him on my bench just in case for future weeks if he's going to be the guy. But for right now, I'd wait. Martini in the chat was asking Aguilar or Harris in a full PPR. I would rather play Aguilar. Evan Ingram or Irv Smith Jr. in a full PPR says Dues 98. I'd rather play Irv Smith right now. Thank you. Austin 38 says start 2 in a full PPR flex. Miles Sanders, Bateman, Judy, Keenan Allen, James Conner, or James Robinson. If I'm starting 2 in a full PPR scoring format, let me think here. So this is what I would say. You have a lot of options to pivot here. So you're fine if, in fact, you go as such. You need to start 2 of these options. All right, so this is my suggestion, Austin. You play Judy in one spot. You play Keenan Allen in the other. If we get to the afternoon slate of the window and Keenan Allen is not going to be accompanied with Justin Herbert, or Keenan Allen doesn't play, you would then play Connor. If Connor doesn't play, then you would play James Robinson. But otherwise, it is Judy and then the domino effect of those other players. That's my suggestion there, Austin. Matthew Correa says, full PPR, Garrett Wilson, A.J. Dillon, Travis Etienne. I would play Garrett Wilson there. Thank you. Jacob Reiser says, full PPR, pick 2, London, Dillon, Marquise Brown, Jeff Wilson. I'd play London and Marquise Brown. Thank you. Someone in the chat, Mac, was saying A-Rob or Thielen. I'd play A-Rob there. Let's see here. Dameon Pierce or Zeke. I'd rather play Dameon Pierce this week. James Robinson or Tony Pollard. I'd rather play James Robinson. QBs that are not ranked, any of them worth playing. Okay, so let me go ahead and give you some perspective here as to what I have after the fact. After Aaron Rodgers, my number 17 is Marcus Mariota. Number 18 is Tannehill. Number 19 is Justin Fields. 20 is Winston. 21 is I almost said Falco, like the Keanu Reeves character in that movie. It would be Flacco. But otherwise, yeah, I think Marcus Mariota could be a decent option against Seattle today. What else do we have here? Someone asked, Caden was asking, Akers or CeeDee Lamb? It's no question. You're playing CeeDee Lamb there. I feel pretty confident in the CeeDee Lamb play, especially in a full PPR. A couple more questions were sent in here. Let's see here. John Butterballs says, full PPR, need a second running back and a second flex. These are my available options. Of the options that you mentioned here, Mr. Butterballs, I would play Dameon Pierce and I would play Chris Olave. Thank you. Hawaiian Hunk says, start Mike Williams, Burks, or J-Rob. I would wait. Okay, so I think this is pretty easy. You wait for the Chargers game. If, in fact, Herbert doesn't play, you play James Robinson. If Herbert does play, you play Mike Williams. Thank you. Paul Getz says, should I go 30 personnel? Oh, man, 3 tight ends? Is that what we're thinking here? Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, and then have Kittle replacing Allen Robinson? Ooh. Let me think here. Kittle over Allen Robinson? I'm okay with that. 30 I don't think it would be considered, it wouldn't be considered 30 personnel. Because technically, if you have personnel, right, the first number is the running backs, right? So it goes running back, then tight end. So, if it's 21 personnel, that's 2 backs, 1 tight end. If it's 12 personnel, it's 1 back, 2 tight ends. So it wouldn't be 30 personnel. It would be like 0-3 personnel, which would be, I don't even know what the heck. That's not even a real personnel option. I've never seen that. 3 tight ends, no backs. That'd be crazy. Someone said, what about Jordan Mason? Jordan Mason's going to be in the mix. As to whether he's viable, probably not. EC says defense ? We'll get to that in just a moment. I'll go ahead and talk about my top 12 again. A couple more questions I need to answer. Jay Hawley 203 says Allen Robinson or McLaurin. I'd play Allen Robinson. Brian Mills says I need 1.5 PPR scoring format. We're going to play either McKinnon or Jamal Williams. In a half PPR, I prefer Jamal Williams considering the questionable nature of Mr. DeAndre Swift as of right now. Moving on, we have Jeef says Ingram or McKinnon. I'd play McKinnon there in a full PPR. Oh, sorry, that's a question by DeAndre Warren. My apologies. He asked full PPR McKinnon or Ingram. I'd play McKinnon. Jeef says Matt Ryan, Daniel Jones, or James Robinson in my super flex. Wow, that's brutal. I would most likely play. Oh man, I'd most likely just play the quarterback there. I'd go with Matt Ryan. iShine 101 says since the Patriots wide receiver 1 is inactive, where would you fit out Nelson Aguilar in the wide receiver list? I have him off the list specifically, but where I have him right now in a half PPR, I have Nelson Aguilar as my number 40 wide receiver. So that kind of gives you some idea. I want to trust Nelson Aguilar. I just don't know if I can. That's the biggest concern. I like Nelson Aguilar a lot, but it's just, is he that big of a game-changing wide receiver that just because he gets a little bit more opportunity, he just blows up and has himself an unstoppable game? I know he was incredible last week with 20 fantasy points, but that was a 50-yard receiving touchdown that pretty much changed it all. Here we go. Moving on. Ashley sent in a question. Let's see, Ashley. Let's see what we got. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Control F. Wilson or Kirk? I think I'm fairly certain. What is my rankings on screen? I have Kirk Cousins ahead of Russell Wilson this week, so that's where I'm going. Now, if your question wasn't Russell Wilson or Christian Kirk, right, and it was Jeff Wilson and, or sorry, redact that. If your question wasn't regarding quarterbacks, if it wasn't Russell Wilson and Kirk Cousins, and you were asking about Jeff Wilson or Garrett Wilson versus Christian Kirk, this is what I would say. I'd play Christian Kirk. I play both the Kirks. How about that? All right. As a Kiorkof, I'd play Christian Kirk and Kirk Cousins. So the Kirks are staying together in some capacity. That's what I would say, actually. Pro922 says, let's see here, Pro. Do you have a question attached to this? He said Lockett or Judy. I play Judy right now. Thank you very much. 100-yard podcast says J.K. Dobbins, Jeff Wilson Jr., or Dameon Pierce in the flex position. I'm going Jeff Wilson there. I just think purely based on that offense, I know what I'm getting when I play Jeff Wilson Jr. in comparison to what I'm going to get when I play J.K. Dobbins. The fact that they don't have Trey Lance in there, they don't have Tyrion Davis-Price, there's going to be far more utilization of Jeff Wilson in comparison, so I'm going to go in that direction. It's Magic says London or Allen. As of right now, considering how close they are in my rankings, I would just play London and don't worry about the Allen play this afternoon. Kadar says, is it worth to trade Aaron Jones for Javonte Williams? I think it's close. I'd probably still lean in the direction of Aaron Jones as of right now, because when I think of the backfield split between what Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers do in comparison to what Denver does, I think the Packers are far more effective in their approach. So I'd still keep Aaron Jones there. Pyro Hype 323 says Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk, Marquise Hollywood Brown, pick 3. I play Kirk and I play Hollywood. Thank you. Big Dog says, where did Big Dog's question go? Big Dog, where you at? Okay. Full PPR, Elijah Moore, Alan Lazard, or Treylon Burks. I play Alan Lazard there. Thank you. ENG the Gamer, Wentz or Brady. I play Wentz. Thank you. Payne Ritchie says half PPR. I need a flex and a wide receiver too. Of the options that you mentioned, Payne, I'd play Samuel and I'd play Judy. Thank you. Muhammad says, in a full PPR scoring format, do you take a chance on Mike Williams or go Gabe Davis? If you don't have any other options, if you don't have any other options for the afternoon slate of games, you just have to go Gabe Davis there, because we just don't know. Pitts or Conklin today? I'm playing Pitts. English 86 says Penny, Lockett, Stevenson in a standard league. Ooh, interesting. In a standard scoring format, I want to play Penny. I want to assume that he'll play well, and that's probably where I'm going to go there. I'd probably just go with Penny. I mean, Lockett could end up having another good week here, but I'm just not 100% certain that the targets are always going to be there for him. Geno Smith just scares me in that regard, so I'm going to go Penny for right now. Sin says flex, full PPR, Jacobs or Ertz. In a full PPR scoring format, if I'm picking one of the two options, unless Jacobs falls into the end zone, I'm probably going Ertz there. Thank you. DYLY bar 4 says full PPR. I need a lot of points for my wide receiver RB flex combination. Of the available options, who are you playing? At running back, we're playing Javonte Williams. At wide receiver, we're playing Brandon Cooks. And in flex, you're playing Hollywood Brown. Thank you very much. Marlon Garcia. Full PPR, 12-team league. I'm trying to trade Allen Robinson and Fournette. Who should I aim for? My wide receivers are Pittman, Sutton, Allen Robinson. My running backs are Swift. Okay, so you need a running back desperately if you're going to make that trade. If you're going to trade Fournette and Allen Robinson, you have to go get one of the top tier running backs. Go get Dalvin Cook. Go get something like that. That's what I'm thinking. No, not Steve Rogers says AJ Dillon, Jeff Wilson Jr., Sterling Shepard, DK Metcalf, full PPR scoring format. If it's one of those options in a full PPR, I'm probably going DK. Thank you. iShine says Allen Robinson, Cordero Patterson in a flex full PPR. If it's full PPR, I'd rather play Allen Robinson there. Thank you. S. Huss says Ertz or Hawkinson. I'd rather play Ertz. Risk of playing Keenan Allen or start Olave / Jahan Dotson. If you don't have anybody in the afternoon window, like literally nobody on roster, and you've looked at your waiver wire and you don't have anybody available there either, you could just play Keenan Allen and hope that even if there is no Herbert, you could still get value out of him. In a full PPR, I'm kind of leaning in that direction instead of the other two options you mentioned. But if you want to go with Olave, I guess, the risk it's inherently there in both options. It's just a matter of which one you prefer. If it's me, I'm probably going to stick it out and see if Keenan Allen can figure it out for me. Masenko says, currently have Dylan and Wilson as my running backs. Okay. Currently on Dylan / Wilson. Should I play Julio if he suits up? Do not play Julio even if he suits up. Other options are Hines, Jacobs, Pollard. Yeah, I would keep... Wait, you currently have those as your options? If you're playing in a full PPR, that's fine. If you're in a half, I'd consider going Jacobs over Dylan, but that would be it. That'd be the only change I would actually ever consider in that regard. Okay, so defenses. Yes, we're getting to that right now, Daryl. And I know EC was asking for that earlier. Here we go. So defenses, top 12. Here we go. In order, I'm going to say number and then the team. Number 1, New Orleans Saints. Number 2, Buffalo Bills. Number 3, Dallas Cowboys. Number 4, Baltimore Ravens. Number 5, San Francisco 49ers. Number 6, Denver Broncos. Number 7, Cincinnati Bengals. Number 8, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 9, Los Angeles Chargers. Number 10, Los Angeles Rams. Number 11, Philadelphia Eagles. Number 12, Kansas City Chiefs. All right. Again, I want to thank you guys for supporting the channel. Coming out here, clicking the like button. We are at 826 likes. That is incredible. If we can get to 1,000, I know there's 1,000 of you in here. I know maybe majority of you have already clicked it, but if you have not yet already, be sure to click the like button. Also, if you guys have not yet already, be sure to go ahead, and if you're trying to play fantasy football at a greater capacity, be sure to check out Underdog Fantasy. Again, they got a lot of pick'ems today. We were going over this a little bit earlier. In regards to the players you might want to go ahead, pick higher or lower on a given statistic and try to take advantage of it. I'm thinking Derrick Henry's running the ball. Did they get rid of his rushing attempts? I'm thinking he's running the ball more than 21 or 20 and a half times. I think 21 is a pretty juicy number for him in this week's matchup. I know Taylor Lewan's out for the season, but you guys got to remember, Taylor. Wait, what is this? Okay, we'll turn that off. Even though I do like this over on the rushing yards, and I do like this over on the passing yards. Even though Taylor Lewan's out, you got to remember when the year that Derrick Henry went for 2,000 yards, there was no Taylor Lewan in that offense. Just a reminder, okay? Josh says you suck. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate the compliment. No problem. Glad you enjoy the content. Moving on. We had a couple donations come in. Let's see here. Lank Dog says wide receiver 1. Okay, so we need a wide receiver. We need a flex, and we have these available options. Okay, so of the mentioned options, I play DJ Moore and Allen Robinson there in a full PPR. Lank Dog, thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Leitu says no quarterback or tight end video. No, not this week. Mainly because Thursday it was Steelers versus Pittsburgh. It was Pittsburgh Steelers versus Cleveland Browns. You're not starting any of those quarterbacks, right? So we know, hey, if the rankings are going to be on the screen for what we have, like it shows right here, boom, right here, boom. If you know that the rankings are going to be there every Sunday morning, then I just might as well wait there because I'm showing top 16 anyway updated. So I thought to myself, no one's starting Trubisky. No one's starting Brissett. Forget that. If you have Freiermuth, you're playing him. You're good to go. So tight end rankings kind of been relegated to Sundays as of right now. Moving on. So we did Link Dog's questions. Damon Smith, thank you very much. Says full PPR. Would you start Mooney, Stevenson, or Ayuk? I would place Ayuk right now as of those 3 options. Thank you very much. Luis says full PPR, James Conner, Tony Pollard, or A.J. Dillon. If Connor is available to play, I am going with him. If he is not able to play this afternoon, you play A.J. Dillon instead of him. That would be my suggestion. Scott sends in a question, says full PPR. Pick 1. We have Chase Edmonds. We have Kenneth Walker. We have J.K. Dobbins. We have Damian Harris. Ooh, good question. In my opinion, if it's my team and it's this weekend, I am most likely playing J.K. Dobbins out of those available options. Might be risky, but that's what I'm doing. that's pretty much that. Okay, we caught up there. Perfect. Okay. Do I start Jared Goff or Aaron Rodgers? Mohammed, I would play Jared Goff. Lazard, Gage, or Aguilar? I have it ranked Gage, Lazard, Aguilar, Benny in that exact order that I just mentioned. Christian Kirk or James Conner? It depends if Conner plays. If he does, it could be a decent option. Otherwise, I think Christian Kirk in a full PPR probably takes the cake there. Carlos Ruiz says full PPR, Ayuk, Kittle, or MVS. I'd play Kittle. Thank you. Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins? Play Kirk Cousins there, Skills. Is it worth starting Bateman this week? Half PPR. I benched DJ Moore for Pierce. Sorry, what does it say? I benched DJ Moore for Pierce. Benched Bateman for Devonta. Who should I start? I have Lazard, Rondell Moore. Or sorry, Rondell. Who's Ron? Yeah, Rondell? I think you meant Rashad, right? I don't know what you meant. Maybe you have Rondell Moore on your bench, but he's not active, so he's irrelevant at this point. Of the options that you mentioned, to be honest, Jason, if you're playing in a full, I don't know what's your scoring format, Jason. Let's get to that first and foremost before I give you something that doesn't require. Why is Mariota low? He's number 17. I don't think that's low. I just don't trust them as much because I don't trust the offense as a whole, even though he's played well. Phil says, so I want to say thanks for all the hard work. Appreciate that. What do you think about Akers? As of right now, it'll eventually get to a point where Akers will take the job, but it won't be for a little while, I'm assuming. Appreciate that, Phil. Thank you. Allen Robinson or Marquise Hollywood-Brown? I'd play Marquise Brown. Someone just asked Kamara or Robinson. I'd play Kamara. Bengals defense or Dallas? I have Dallas higher this weekend. Dylan or Dameon Pierce? I'm fairly certain the rankings are on screen for a lot of these questions. Bateman or Garrett Wilson? I have Bateman ahead of him on screen as well. Sutton or Connor, non-PPR? I'd play Sutton there. London or Samuel? I have London ahead of him on screen. Jacobs or Dobbins? I have that on screen as well. Guys, again, a lot. Dude, we're so close to 1,000 likes. If we can do, whoo, baby, come on, guys. Show your appreciation. Help a brother out. Get us to that 1,000 like mark. I'd be greatly appreciated. Even if you want to click the dislike button, that's fine too, because the way that the YouTube algorithm works is that it doesn't matter what engagement you put forth, even if it's negative engagement, it still is like, oh, if people are willing to react to your content, we're most likely to suggest it. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy that that's actually a thing. But YouTube's like, middle finger to anybody who puts up a dislike button, because it actually helps. Moving on, there was a couple questions sent in. Jordan P says, dude, we're so close to 1,000. We're 7 away. We're 7 away. Let's go. Round of applause, everybody. Well done. Well done. We're about, how many minutes away? We're at 9 more minutes. Okay, we're trying our best here. Okay, a couple more. Jordan P says, more Olave Etienne. I'd play Olave this week if I'm picking one. Brandon Sherry says, DJ Moore, Garrett Wilson as my wide receiver 2. I have Sutton as my wide receiver 1. I would play DJ Moore. Pedro says, try to trade Curtis Samuel and Antonio Gibson for Kamara. Yes, I wouldn't mind that. I would do that, actually. If you can get Kamara out of that, you should. PRMNT says, Curtis Samuel, David Montgomery in the flex. I would play David Montgomery this week. Skills says, thanks for answering the question. No problem. Again, here to help. Try to help as much as I possibly can. Ashley says, Kirk Cousins. Christian Kirk. I keep messing this up, Ashley. I don't know what it is. Michael Thomas or Christian Kirk. I'd play Michael Thomas. Devin Duvernay or Jahan Dotson. I would play... I probably played. Okay, I gotta think about this now. I probably played Devin Duvernay. Dale Derrick says full PPR. My flex slot is with one of these potential. I play Allen Robinson there. Dale, that's what I would play. Ali says Lamb, London, James Robinson, Curtis Samuel, full PPR. Okay, Lamb, London, James Robinson, Curtis Samuel, full PPR. I play London there. As your flex position. Also, my wide receivers are Higgins and Pittman. Do I keep them? Yes. You're pretty much, you're good to go there, Ali. You play Higgins, Pittman, London the flex. Your RB2 is Gibson. You're perfectly fine with that. Yeah, you're good to go there. You're good to go there, especially in a full PPR. Tommy says, should I play Gabe Davis or Drake London? I prefer Drake London this week, mainly because I don't have to, worry about the injury, and then the matchup is fine for London as well. So between Cordero Patterson and Jeff Wilson, where would I go? I would play Jeff Wilson Jr. That's my suggestion there, Tommy. Dom says pick 2 in a full PPR scoring format. Edmonds, Stevenson, Mooney, Anderson. Edmonds, Stevenson, Mooney. Edmonds, Stevenson, Mooney, Anderson. I'd probably place Ramondre Stevenson, and probably as the next best option goes Robbie Anderson there. Enemies within. Let me see if you had a question attached. And meet. Can I spell? Thank you. Jesus. I was like, what is going on? Enemies, if you could type in the chat what your question was, that'd be greatly appreciated because it didn't attach to your donation. Friendly also had a similar situation where he didn't attach the message. Friendly said half PPR, pick one, Higgins, Michael Williams, or Cordero Patterson. Play Higgins, Friendly. 100% play Higgins. 100%. No questions. Okay. Yeah, 1K likes. Kobe, that's crazy, right? You guys are awesome. I greatly appreciate that. Brandon L says Pitts, Mooney, Lazard. I play Kyle Pitts this weekend. Flex Bateman or Miles Sanders. I mean, if you're playing in a half PPR, even in a full, I'm thinking to myself, I'd rather play Miles Sanders this weekend. Allen Robinson or Treylon Burks. I'd rather play Allen Robinson. Zeke or Dobbins. I have Dobbins ahead of him. 1.1K likes. Yeah, it's crazy, guys. That's awesome. Thank you. Curtis Samuel or Samuel, not Kirk, full PPR. That's Willie talking to somebody else. He wasn't talking to me. Never mind. Hollywood or Connor. If you're playing a full PPR, Ryan, just play Hollywood. You'll be fine there. Allen Robinson. Okay, we did that one. Kamara's a safe start. I believe so. Yes. Okay, we got 6 more minutes left here. Let me see if enemies within or kind of sent in typed in a question. Enemies within. Anything? Enemies? There you go. Judy or McLaurin with Judy still not guaranteed to play. From what I've read, from the reports that I saw from Schefter and Ian Rappaport, ESPN NFL Network, the assumption is that Judy's going to play. Or the tip that they've been given, considering they're insiders, analysts, all those kind of things, is that they're probably going to play. Someone asked Christian Kirk or Bateman. I'd play Christian Kirk there. Kirk or Olave? Kirk. Appreciate, no problem. Thank you. Samuel, Etienne, Wilson. I play Samuel there. Ayuk or Henderson, full PPR. I'd rather play Ayuk there. Singletary or Juju. I'd rather play Juju there. What else we have? Lamb or Kirk. I'm so pressed. I'd play Christian Kirk there. Antonio, just take it easy, my man. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Is Herbert playing? We are under the assumption that he will, but we're not 100% certain. We're not 100% certain that he actually does. They're pretty much leaning in the direction that they will play him, but time will tell. We'll know in about 2.5 hours whether or not he gets the injection to his ribs and whether he's going to be painkillered out of his mind. Let's see here. Michael Carter or Breece Hall? I'd rather play Michael Carter, Brenny. Bateman or Edmonds? I'd rather play Bateman there, Thomas. Is it worth stashing? Sorry. Is it worth starting Bateman in a half PPR? Oh yeah, we already did this question, didn't I? Maybe I didn't answer it, Jason. My bad. I'm looking towards probably playing Bateman and DJ Moore there. Brandon Lavin says Hayden Hurst or Noah Fant? Hayden Hurst. Andy says appreciate you. Montgomery or Sutton in a half PPR? I want to play David Montgomery there. That's probably where I would go. I play David Montgomery. Henderson or A-Rob in a full PPR? I'd rather play A-Rob. Connor or Dylan? If Connor's healthy, I play him. Otherwise, you'll know by the afternoon slate, which Dylan plays within, to where you can pivot or not. So as of right now, I'm going Connor. Otherwise, you pivot to Dylan when he's not healthy if he doesn't play. Are the Bills still a startable defense this week? I think they still are. In many scenarios, it would be hard for some of us to pick up another defense anyway. But if you have another one of those top 12 options, you could always pivot there. But I still think that they're startable. Lazard or Jeff Wilson? I'd probably go Jeff Wilson Jr. there. What else we have here? Montgomery or Gabriel Davis? Montgomery. Let's see here. Angel said in the question, says Mike Williams or Allen Robinson? Should I be worried about Mike Williams? Angel, considering both those games start at the same time, you can wait. You'll know if Herbert's playing. If Herbert plays, you play Williams. If he doesn't, you play A-Rob. You're good to go. Kobe says, what should I do about Woods? And then Jacobs over Harris. Yes, Jacobs over Harris. What should you do about Woods? Potentially drop him if he doesn't do anything today. Chase Chappell, welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Tua or Wentz? Someone said in the chat. I play Tua. Again, don't forget, the rankings on screen are up to date as of this morning, so it should give you an indication as to where I would go in a half PPR, 4-point for passing touchdown format. Chase, Chappell, full PPR before the 2-minute timer runs out here. Who could I possibly get if I traded Zeke, DJ Moore, and maybe another mid-tier wide receiver? If you can try to go and upgrade and get upper-tier wide receivers in the capacity of Michael Pittman Jr., Mike Evans, players of that caliber by going up and making those 2-for-1 kind of trades, maybe even better, you want to go get a Debo, maybe you want to go get, AJ Brown, that would be where we're trying to look to go and upgrade at that point. Carlos Ramos says, full PPR, Michael Thomas or Gabriel Davis. I have Josh Allen. I would still play Michael Thomas in that regard. Thank you. Is that it? Saints or Chicago defense? I prefer Saints against Baker. Zach Ertz or Damian Harris in a non-PPR. I'd rather play Damian Harris. Garrett Wilson, DJ Moore, or Jahan Dotson. I have DJ Moore ahead of Garrett Wilson, ahead of Jahan Dotson. Saints or Chargers? I have Saints as my number 1 defense, Benny. Pierce or J-Rob? I prefer J-Rob. Duvernay or Perriman? I have Perriman slightly ahead of him. Need to know Josh Jacobs or Cordero Patterson. If you don't want to risk Josh Jacobs, you just play Patterson. It's no problem. I think they're pretty close in my rankings to where I'm fine with either one. I don't really have a hard preference, but if it's my team and I'm like, oh, I got to set a lineup, I'm playing Jacobs. Allen Robinson or Gabriel Davis in a standard, I'm playing Allen Robinson. McLaurin or Dillon. Listen, the reason why I am lower on Gabriel Davis is because that ankle injury, from what I saw at practice this week, the dude is still limping around, right? That's why I have him at a lower capacity. He could still play well, but he's still injured, and that is my issue with him. I'm afraid of re-aggravation. That's why I have him where I have him at in my rankings. I've taken the risk account into, I've taken the risk into account in regards to where I have him ranked. Okay. I want to thank you guys for watching. Someone asked Jerry, Judy, or Dylan. Half PPR. I probably play the wide receiver there. Keenan Allen going to play today. We'll have to wait and see. Maddie was saying, I need to know in a PPR, Josh Jacobs or Cordero Patterson. A non-PPR. I'd still probably play Jacobs there. J-Rob or Patterson. I played J-Rob. Dobbins, Allen Robinson. I play Allen Robinson in a full PPR there, Damian. That pretty much covers it. I want to thank you guys for joining us. Week 1 outlook. You mean week 3, Craig? As of right now, I'm hoping J.K. Dobbins, just at very least, gets a couple touches today. And what I mean by that is I'm hoping he gets 10 to 12 rushing attempts. That's all I'm asking. I know I'm asking for a lot coming off of the injury and all this kind of stuff, but I'm not really asking for much. Somebody asked Williams or Sutton, play Sutton. We're hoping for the best. Rest of season, Rashad White or Mark Ingram? Rashad White. There's a higher likelihood of Fournette's hamstring injury pretty much messing with him for the rest of the season. Okay, everybody. I want to thank you guys for supporting the channel. Coming out today, asking questions, not answering questions. I was answering the question. I mean, maybe some of you guys in the chat were answering questions. I don't know. I wasn't being able to concentrate there. So if you are in the chat and you're answering questions for other members of the community, that's greatly appreciated. Thank you for contributing in that regard. That is awesome. Was there a stream last Sunday, or was it having technical difficulties? Last Sunday, YouTube wanted to absolutely take a dump on my my entire ability to live stream, so I don't know. It was tough. Either way, someone just put a penguin and said hit a waddle. That's a good one. I didn't even know there was a penguin emote out here. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. 500 of you left in here. Tomorrow we'll have waiver wire, all things related to that. Hopefully we're going to end up having a couple breakout performances today. Nonetheless, also be sure to be a friend, tell a friend, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I know it's tough. Tomorrow, waiver wire. Be sure to check out Underdog Fantasy. Again, there's a lot of pick'ems to play, so if you're interested, check those out. Use promo code Andrew. And until tomorrow, I'll see you guys. Peace. You know what? While we're at it, I kind of feel like playing the outro music or the intro music again because it just hits so hard. So let's do it. I'd rather play James Robinson over Jeff Wilson than the guy who just asked that question.